out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuned to Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. Got my squad with me, in effect as always. Yo, got my guy out Chicago. Guy, what's going on, baby?
I'm good, bro. I can't call it. Appreciate you having me back on the platform. It's been a little minute. You know what I'm saying? It's always love when we get together, bro. Always love.
No doubt, man. No doubt. You already know, man. Open seat for you anytime, man. My brother out of Philadelphia. Bro, what's good, bro?
What's good? Happy to be here, as always.
Yeah, no doubt. No, some boy hit me on the timeline today asking about a pizza steak. Like, yo, is them shits official? I'm like, fuck, now this nigga got me wanting a pizza steak now, man. I used to get them shits from In-N-Out between the pizza burger and cheese fries and the pizza steak. In-N-Out was my spot, man. Like, this nigga got
eat them as often now.
Yeah, but I mean, they still there. We still there. I got my man Tone from In the Dome. What's good, bro?
Peace.
All right. And we got my brother. This is the guy who we started all this podcast and shit with. Done known him over damn near 40 years. Ev, what's going on, bro?
Peace. It's a pleasure to be back up in here. You know, just floating and moving and here. Let's do it.
All right. In a minute. Yo, I tell you what's funny, man. If you look at the first episode of Apartment of Live from the Writer's Bench, yo, nigga, it's not no gray in neither one of us.
No, I was all black, and then
it was not a stitch of gray in either one of us.
And then marriage happened.
Yeah, then marriage happened. I like that one, bro. I like that one. Y'all know me. Let's jump right into it, yo. This week we are talking about. I don't know about y'all, but back in the day, man, I used to love going to an arcade. For the young boys out there who grew up on PlayStation, all that shit, I get it. Y'all never went. But back in my days in the 80s, the arcade was the spot. That's where everybody went. Drug dealers, anybody, every little kids, big kids, whatever. We loved doing that. And one of my favorite games was Donkey Kong. You know what I mean? And there was always this level I couldn't get past. So the thing I loved about video games back then is that it was a point to it. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, Donkey Kong, you gotta save the princess, then you go to the next level, you keep going to levels. Messing with Nay and her games, I found out they call these new video games like sandbox games, where there's really no point to it. You can just keep playing Minecraft all day. So it's almost like just playing in a sandbox. And like, she would try to teach us her games, and me and Tia like, yo, but what's the point? Like, what's the point? And with their games, it really ain't no point. It's just keep playing, you know what I mean? And I'm going to bring that analogy back later on because we come from an era where there are levels to this shit. So two things started this discussion that we're about to have. One, my man Cash, one out of Baltimore, one of the illest artists, got one of the dopest clothing lines. My man Cash, we was talking, I don't know how we got on the topic. I think I was talking about Onyx's joint. What's that joint? Last Days. I love that shit, man. That's just one of the craziest beats. Like, that's just the perfect song. And he was like, yeah, Onyx is legendary. And I was like, I don't know if they're legends. Like just slow down for a minute. You know, I don't know if they're legends. Like, you know, legends to me are like Run DMC. And Run DMC and Tribe and Onyx, like, which one of these kids don't belong here, nigga? Like, so, but I also understand, like Ev said, through 23 years of marriage, there are different definitions for the same word. So I've known Cash for over 20 years, so I'm sure his definition of legend is just different than mine. So things like that. So what we're going to be looking at today is these tiers, like rap tiers, like levels, like who's on the top level. And then what do you call that top level? What's the level under that? I'm looking at it like possibly 3 to 4 levels. So what are the names of the levels? And then what are the criteria for those levels? But first I want to go around and figure out, like, was this a hard thing to do? Like, oh, was this hard for you to do, or was it like kind of simple, or how was it for you?
Bro, this shit was definitely difficult, and I had a bunch of running around to do, so I'm basically finna get up here and freestyle this shit. I got my 3 tiers, but and I got some artists that go in those tiers, but yeah, this was definitely one that I had to sit down and think about.
All right, no doubt. Tone, what about you, man? How was it for you?
Well, the MC part that I'll talk about, it was kind of difficult because certain MCs can fit in different levels. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made it kind of complex for me, but we'll get into that when we talk about mine.
Bro, what about you, bro?
Difficult, like for real. We'll see how I do. Like I got 5 levels because
damn, you deep, man. You were digging.
No, because some people I couldn't like. I don't know. You'll see, man. It was difficult. I ain't gonna hold you.
All right, no doubt. Now, what about you, bro?
Yeah, man, it was difficult. I ran into some a couple of the different obstacles when it came to the levels. Just certain levels that I have some questions about, and then there's some non-existent levels that I got some questions about. So right. and then certain groups may fit here but don't fit here. Right. You know, it's one of the kind of situations where they don't necessarily fit this one, but they don't really fit in that one either. So, you know, and it'll come out in conversation as we go through.
And it was funny because for me, when the OG of this whole conversation came, when this nigga lived from this group Living Legends jumped on my timeline, and people was talking about that, and I was like, you know, at the end of the conversation, I was like, you know, my nigga, you sound more like a West Coast legend or like a local legend. You know what I mean? Now to me, that's not offensive, because if a nigga from hosting 889 in Baltimore, if a nigga called me, I've been called a Baltimore legend, and I'm like, nah, I ain't no legend. I just, you know, did my thing at the radio station, but I'm not offended by being. Here's the thing for me: if you call me a legend in anything, I'm fucking happy. To me, that's a compliment. You know, if you tell me I'm a Philadelphia legend, nigga, that means the world to me. Like I rep my city, like that's beautiful. The only time it's a problem is when you think you're bigger than what you really are. That's the only problem to call somebody a Philadelphia legend, is when you think you a fucking worldwide legend. Now it's disrespectful. So to me, like when we were having that conversation, somebody on the timeline was like, well, Kill, what are your levels? And I was like, well, off the top, you got NWA at the top. Household name. You didn't have to know hip hop to know who NWA was at that time. Under that, I'm gonna put Souls of Mischief and the motherfucking Alcoholics. You know what I mean? On the level under that, I'm gonna put Loot Pack and Jurassic 5. And the level under that, they gonna be some local West Coast niggas. So only niggas out the West wouldn't know like that. You know, so it seemed easy as shit at first. It was like, yo, I just did that off the top. But when it really came down to making the criteria, to me is where it really started getting a little bit harder and different things like that. So, God, I can't remember. Did you say you have your levels? Do you have the names for them, or do you just have the levels? What would it? How did you? What is the name of your levels? I'm intrigued.
So I wanted to go into an in-depth breakdown, and you know what I'm saying, create multiple, which I got multiple levels. I got 3, but like more than 3. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like wanted to give at least like 5 originally. But like after I started trying to play certain artists and groups, I'm like, bro, it's crazy. So I just tried to simplify it, and I narrowed it down to 3. And my 3 levels are mortal, demigod, and God. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like my shit is based on, like, I try to make it all around. You know what I'm saying? Talent first and foremost, impact, accolades, you know, the statistics or whatever you want to call them, and just like overall staying power. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I kind of gauge mine.
All right. So the highest level was God, then demigod, then mortal.
Okay.
All right, cool. We're going to come back and talk about what goes in each tone. What are yours?
So kind of like God, man. So I did on the MC side, I did the super lyrical MC, the lyrical MC, and the dope songwriting MC. Just to keep it simple, you know what I mean?
So super lyrical, and then number 3 was what?
The good songwriting MC.
Good songwriting MC. All right, cool. Well, what you got?
Oh man. All right, I did legend, elite, respected veteran, popular underground, and super underground.
All right. Yo, I'm loving all these different names, man. So it was legend, elite, respected. What was it?
Respected veteran.
Veteran. And then what was it?
Popular underground.
Popular underground.
And that's super underground.
Super underground. All right, no doubt. Now, what you got?
I kind of stuck with your script a little bit. There was one gap that I feel like Rel may have just answered for me, but that in between legend and underground, I feel like there is something there that needs to be, and I like the word that he used, elite. I feel like elite actually kind of does define that section that I'm thinking about. Also, though, for me, super underground and local are kind of the same thing.
Okay.
Even if I'm not, because I feel like super underground is, even if I'm not local to that area, they're kind of more popular because they're local. So to me, those kind of like merged together. Those two, kind of came together.
So yours would be legend, elite, and then underground.
Yeah, I mean, if I could borrow from my man Rel, I would put elite in that middle realm, because I was like, yo, there's something in between legend and underground. And I couldn't think of what it was. So it'll be legend, elite, underground, and then, super underground or local, to me is kind of the same thing.
Okay. All right. No doubt. All right. So what I got for mine, I love how everybody did this different. I went the NBA 2K route. So I'm like Hall of Fame. I got 3. I got Hall of Fame, Superstar, and then Pro. So those are the 3 that I got. I'm gonna go into. We're going to start off with the first level. So for me, Hall of Fame, I have 8 boxes you have to check to be in the Hall of Fame. You're a household name, meaning that, like I said earlier, people outside of, I ain't going to say your great grandmother going to know him, but I mean, your moms knew who LL Cool J was when you was a kid. You don't have to listen to hip hop to know who LL Cool J was. You got to have at least one classic album. You have to have impact on the game. You've got to have originality. You've got to have longevity. And I also have that can be partnered with the impact that you have. Because, of course, somebody's going to say, well, Big didn't have longevity, but I felt the impact he had, took care of that. You're a top tier MC. You have a legacy, and you have classic songs. So it's not just classic albums, but classic songs. So to me, to be in my Hall of Fame, you got to check those 8 boxes. And I'm going to run down some MCs that I felt, I just came off the top with this. Run DMC, Big, Tribe, Ice Cube, NWA, LL, Outkast, and Nas. And for me, those MCs check all 8 of those boxes. So that's what I got. God, for you, what is it that they need to get into the God level?
So for God level, for me, you know what I'm saying, you gotta have like a ability to transcend. So again, I would have I definitely got some of the artists you mentioned in my God tier. Like for groups, I got groups like NWA, EPMD, Run DMC, Wu, Tribe. For solo acts, I got like Biggie, Jay, Nas, X. You know what I'm saying, artists like those, like Pac. And it's kind of like you had to have that total package. You have to have the staying power. Even though Big and Pac was taken from us relatively early, we still talking about them 30 years later, however many years later. They did incredible things when it came to selling records. You know what I'm saying? They still maintain artistic integrity. They set trends. And they birthed. You know what I'm saying? MCs to come after them and artists to come after them. So that's kind of like my God tier criteria. It's like that's kind of like iconic type shit right there.
Right. All right. So transcend, stay in power, record sales with integrity, and set trends. All right. Bet. Tone, what about you?
So for the super lyrical MC, which I joke on Twitter about the rapidy rap, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's really complex wordplay, elite vocabulary, and intelligence within your rhymes, and the creativity, range as an overall artist. So just basically that high level, high tier encyclopedia rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then an example would be someone like Lupe Fiasco. I mean, high level writing. You know what I'm saying? Just like Cannabis in '97, high level writing that was pretty much head and shoulders. If you compare them to most peers. Pharoah Monch, you know what I'm saying, very deep vocabulary. Even Mos Def, when you look at him Twice in a Lifetime and Thieves in the Night. That's not normal rapping. You know what I'm saying? That's just high level MCing, super lyrical MCing, man. So, and even Big Pun on several tracks on Capital Punishment, I would call that super lyrical as well. So that would be like that God tier.
That God tier. All right, well, what about you?
My legend tier is longevity, classics, songs and albums, impact, and influence MCs on below. Influence other MCs, like influence MCs that came up after them. And that's like, I got examples of Nas, Big, Q, LL, Public Enemy, Wu, Jay-Z, Scarface. Those are just some examples that I got for that level. And this is just, the top level. This is the ones that, changed the game at some point, had longevity, and there you can pinpoint and see their impact and who they influenced.
Right. All right, what you got up?
So for legend, which is my top, it has to be, the personal group has to be world known. You got to have mass appeal. So, in this day and time, you can be world known for the wrong things, but you got to have actually appeal to the masses. Also, you have to have a connection to hip hop heads to be a legend. Like, you can't just be known and have, because if you're known and have mass appeal, you can just be a pop artist. Mm-hmm. So you still have to have connection to actual hip hop heads. I think that's an important part to being an actual legend. And it's something that, you have a name that people will talk about. They'll bring it up 30 years from now and people still know who you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So that's the text to that longevity part.
All right. So well-known, mass appeal, connection to heads, and you have a name that people still talk about. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, here's the part that kind of got tricky to me because I'm doing this list and I'm like, all right, for my Hall of Fame, I'm like, you have to be a top tier MC.
No,
so I'm like,
good thing, not to talk. Your Hall of Fame is what we may call legend.
Yeah, we're all doing like that top tier. Yeah. So mine is the Hall of Fame, God's is the God, Tones is super lyrical, and then you and Rels are both legends.
Gotcha. Okay.
So before for the Hall of Fame, you had to be a top tier MC. And then I'm looking like, I don't know if Tribe are top tier MCs. So then I kind of had to stop and be like, well, fuck.
Hold on. Question.
Yeah.
Why you say that?
Because when I'm thinking of top tier, and again, everybody watching, I should have started like this. I think this is going to be a lot more of a discussion, for me at least, you know what I mean, than a straight up and down, here's our answers, all right, have a, God bless and good night type regular Apartment 5B show, because it's just a lot. So I think that for me, I have a lot of questions, because like I said, I started with one list, because let me start with this. I should have started with this. For me, I was looking at these things in tone notes from doing radio from 93 to 2000. 889 plays a huge part in the way that I look at everything with hip hop. And what I mean by that is that I was looking at the Hall of Fame MCs. Then I was like thinking about it like these are just the MCs that we all knew. Then, because again, 93 to 2000. So then I'm looking at the superstars, like they're more the raucous MCs. They're a little underground. The Pharoah Monches, the Black Stars, the Most to Live, but people still know them. But then my DJs would come in with other groups like Loop Pack that I had never heard of. And then they would be doing that. And they were like, really, it's almost like Rel said, I'm like, oh, those are the really underground people. Because back in 97, raucous was considered underground. You know what I mean? So then I'm like, oh, there are groups that are under the underground. Like, and again, to me, I'm about to be 50 this year, y'all. So I'm used to just, I guess, upper ground and underground. I didn't know there was another fucking level that went under the underground. Like, and I was like, oh shit, like there's niggas who are under that. But then I started thinking, is it fair? Is it based off of their talent that they're underground or just that they're on the independent label? So then that started kind of playing in my head like, well, could Loop Pack have been as big would Tribe be as big as Tribe was if they weren't on Jive? And if Tribe was on Fat Beats, would we all know their songs? So that kind of started fucking up my list even more because I'm like, when I did it through 889, I'm kind of like, well, damn, it's fucked up that these niggas are on the lower tier, but all the people on the lower tier are on super independent labels. You know what I mean? So what you gonna say, bro? And this we just talking. So if you got something, throw your hand up. We gonna say, bro?
I have a question though. Like, so does it? Because it's a lot of MCs that will fall under legend and some of the lower tiers as far as our criteria, but they might be more lyrically talented than somebody that's above them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just think like song making comes into play when like when you mention Tribe, like they not super lyrical, but they can rap, you know what I'm saying? But they know how to make songs. Classic songs, and it's not like watered down. Like I'm talking about hip hop songs, like not know how to make pop songs. They know how to make hip hop songs, and I think that's what kind of separates them from maybe somebody that's under them that you might feel is more lyrical. To me, well, I don't know. I'm asking, what do y'all think?
No. I agree 100% with you, because now I'm the reason why I love having this conversation is because I don't know. Maybe you don't check all 8 boxes. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, do you have to check all 8 boxes? Because everything else with Tribe, they got household name, classic album, impact, originality, longevity, legacy, classic songs. So they've got 7 out the 8 boxes. So, and again, I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying it just, when I started this list, like I kept going back and forth, but I'm gonna get to you, Avgod. What were you gonna say?
That just made me like rethink something, and now I could justify adding a 4th tier, you know what I'm saying, to line. So real quick to rewind, I would still have God, Demigod, Immortal, but I would add Pedestrian to the lowest. You know what I'm saying? And
I love the names, man. I love these names.
Yeah, for the gods, like I'm tweaking, because the gods, I feel like those should be the forefathers. So I would have to put like Run DMC, Rakim, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, you know what I'm saying, NWA, Face even, you know what I'm saying, or Face, he might go in the Demigod category, but just like try to depict some from every region. That would be my God tier, like, and that's kind of like the icon, you know what I'm saying, tier, you know what I'm saying, those that started it, you know what I'm saying, and kind of popularized it. You know what I'm saying? And right under them would be the demigods. Those would be the Jays, the Nas's, the Bigs, the Pacs, because they all came from them. You know what I'm saying? Right. And even though you got Rakim and KRS-One and guys like that's above the demigods sold all the records. But at the same time, that's one criteria that the gods may lack. But they place in hip hop is much more than that. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like back to what y'all was saying, like you might not even check all 8 boxes. They don't have crazy record sales. You know what I'm saying? But they came up in the era to where it wasn't about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it was. You
couldn't even have crazy record sales back then.
It wasn't possible. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the impact and the status and the creativity of what they was doing. So I would do that, God tier, demigod tier, and you know what I'm saying, I still have my mortal, we ain't got that yet, and I would add the pedestrian. You know what I'm saying, pedestrian tier.
Ed, what were you about to say?
You kind of touched on it at the end of your conversation. Basically, what I was looking at from yesterday when I looked at what the topic was and going through it, what I'm seeing is there's a time frame that we're kind of working inside of. You know, I don't think these levels go across the board, because there is no like real underground or sub-underground today. At least I don't know it. So I have questions about that. Not saying that, you know, this is concrete and this is what it is, but I have questions around like, okay, should we be talking about what the time frame is that we're speaking of when we talk about legends and when we talk about sub-underground and we talk about local? Because we're in a whole different phase of music right now.
Right. And that's a good question too, because when I was doing this, I'm looking up like, okay, what's the criteria to get in the Hall of Fame in the NFL? You know, and I think it was saying like the only real criteria is I think you got to be retired for more than 5 years, you know, to actually have your name brought up. So it's one of those things. I know for me, and this is why I love the shows, because like I said, you know, everybody has a different definition to the same word. And I say this every day on Twitter, and some people are like, fuck is you talking about? Being married for 23 years, nigga, there are times where I may say, yo, T, let's spend some quality time together. And that shit means sex to me. she hear quality time, and that means let's hold hands, let's talk, let's maybe take a fucking walk and watch a movie. When you don't speak, when you don't have the same definitions, both people are upset, and it becomes an argument because you're expecting this, she's expecting that. So just for people out there who are always asking me, what do I mean, is that they're just different definitions for the same word. In order to have intelligent conversations, that's the key point, boys and girls, especially on Twitter, to have intelligent conversations, you got to take the time to ask, well, what's your definition of quality time? Oh, that's what you meant? Oh, okay, well, this was my definition. Okay, cool. When you want some sex, nigga, just say that. And when you want to hold hands, just say that. Now we good. Now we can move forward. Now we can have better conversations. So that's why it's so important for me to always talk about the definitions. Now, Ev, what you brought up is a great topic. I know for me, I don't think I was really looking at it like as a time perspective. Meaning that if we said, like, say we sat here and we said, you know what, to be considered a legend or Hall of Fame or whatever our top tier is, you've had to been in the game 10 years, right? Or let's say 20 years. Then for me, Fonte could be in my Hall of Fame because Little Brother's been around for 20 years. You know what I mean? And if he checks all those boxes, for me, I wasn't looking at like, well, Run DMC is 84 and Fonte is 2004. You know, it was just like they all just go in the same. You just all get in the same box. Like you're right up there with that. And the underground to me is like the indie MCs. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't everybody right now? Isn't a lot of people indie right now? I mean, when you talk about sub underground and underground, it's kind of difficult because everybody's using the same platform as far as like the internet. Well,
I think when I say sub underground, when I say underground, I'm thinking God, Rel, Black, God, God help me, Backwoods Sweetie. I'm losing names. You know, Vic Spencer, like all these MCs who may not, and I don't know, Vic may be signed to a label, but like for instance, Skyzoo and them are on. Tone, what's the name of that label that Skyzoo and them are on? Odyssey is on it. It's an indie label. My Skyzoo is. I'll think of the name, but like some MCs, like for instance, people consider Griselda independent. You know what I mean? Because Griselda was just Griselda. I know they did like an album deal or a 2-album deal with Shady and everything like that, but for the most part, they're independent. But I wouldn't put God and Conway in the same category, not as far as talent, but just as far as like, like, you know, Conway's name is going to be able to ring louder than somebody who doesn't have that same push behind them, which brought me back to 889, where it's like, well, is it the MC's fault that they're on? Is it Lupat's fault that they're on Stone's Throw? And I'm talking Stone's Throw back in the beginning of Stone's Throw, like before Adult Swim and Mad Villainy and all that shit. Like, it's not their fault. Lupat may have been just as popular as Tribe if they were on a major label. And like Rel was saying earlier, there's some people who I'm gonna name on my superstar list who may lyrically be better, are lyrically better than Tip and Fife. You know, but they may not be as good songwriters. The same way, I think God is right up there with Benny and Conway, but I don't know if the masses can look at him as the same as Benny and Conway, just because, not because of the talent, but just because he doesn't have the same push that Benny and Conway had. So which made me, were you gonna say that?
What makes me question, are we talking about then talent, or are we talking about how much, how accessible they are to the public?
I think it's a bit of both. That's why I said this got confusing to me, because when I was doing a list based off of 889, I got to the bottom and I'm like, but is that fair? Because these people who are on my pro level, it's not that they not dope, it's just that enough people don't know about them, because Fat Beats or Baby Grand or these different labels don't have the same push that, you know, Rawkus had. I mean, Rawkus was technically independent, but they had distribution. Yep. Like, you know, they had worldwide distribution. So on the surface, they're underground. But, you know, that's what made me realize, like, oh shit, there's a level under Rawkus. Like, I'm not used to this. I'm used to the regular, like, okay, you got the J's and the Nas's, but then under that are the OCs and the J Rules. And, you know, Payday was OC's label, but Wild Pitch, but that was still kind of indie label. So,
because Rawkus had several gold albums.
Right. You know what I mean? So, but again, at 97, 98, Rawkus was considered an underground label.
I think for me, what I did with mine, I'm getting more clear now. I didn't like talent wasn't really a factor because anybody that's in any of my categories already has talent.
Right.
You know, so talent wasn't a criteria as far as where they got placed. It was more so like, okay, the span of their career, how many people were they able to touch during that time?
Right. And that's why I had to come up with like a second list, because I'm like, is it fair for me to say because you're on an independent label, you didn't have that same push? You know, it's almost like, you know, the white person, I was talking to my man, he shout out to my man Boston, he just he's a judge out here, but we were talking about when he graduated law school and some of his white counterparts was like, oh well, my mom brought my house, so I'm gonna take a year off and, you know, see the world before I start. Like, we're not starting on the same footing, you know what I mean? So, you know, I did this thing with my kids where we played Monopoly, and I said, okay, for all you kids who, you know, either go to college and get a trade, you're going to get the 2 die, you're going to get $1,500. For you people who don't want to go to college and you just want to get a job working at McDonald's or whatever, you're going to get 1 die and $750. And they got to see how hard it is to get around that fucking board, only rolling with 1 die, and you only got $750. And I'm like, nigga, that's how like we are not starting the same. Monopoly will have you thinking black folk and white folk starting at the same place, and we aren't. And that's not fair to us. I don't have no fucking parents saying, oh yeah, here's a house. Like, nigga, like, we don't get that shit. So that's why I'm like, is it fair that the underground groups don't have that same push? But, and then again, and this is just me starting to get into my head. You know what I mean? So I do have a finalized list, but it was just something to think about, something to talk about. Because like you said, a lot of these MCs are dope as fuck. And like you said, Ev, you're not looking at it like skill. And that's why I'm like, I didn't know how to do it. Cause I was like, okay, well, I'm doing it 889 and it's about your label. That's not fair. So let me do the skill. But then the skill, you may not have classic songs with the skill, but I feel like you need a classic songs, plural, to be a legend. You know what I mean?
The funny thing too, Kill, I'll be honest, man. For me, the underground cats on my list are probably some of the dopest MCs that I know. Not know personally, but dopest MCs that I listen to. You know what I mean? So that's another reason why for me it wasn't necessarily a talent based kind of like how good they were, or how it could go into like the label they were on, the ability to get maybe some people getting on a major as opposed to being on independent, some people doing it themselves. And some people just, you know, there's some local cats that can easily take out a legend, but they just, you know, the span of their career, they wasn't able to get as much access to the world like that. But it didn't change their pen at all. Right.
And I mean, I think the final list that I got here, I think is what I'm going with. You know what I mean? From all the back and forth and everything like that. So that's that. Rel, Tone, any other thoughts on like that whole conversation about the underground and the indie, and should that matter or?
No, I'm good.
All right. So next up, I got my superstar level. For this level, I got 6 boxes. You got to have a dope album. You're a dope lyricist, originality, legacy, dope songs, and you're well known. So it's different than the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame was classic songs. I'm now going down to just dope songs. The Hall of Fame was classic albums. I'm saying just dope albums and things like that. Some of the people I had under this level is OC, The Alcoholics, Beanie Siegel, Souls of Mischief, AZ, The Clips, Common, Black Moon, and Cameron. I had those people under the superstar level because I felt they checked those boxes. I felt like all these people they're not household names, but they're well known. I think if you're into hip hop, you've heard these people, even if you haven't heard Cam's new album or Pusha T's new album, you know who they are. They do have dope songs. They have a legacy. Like a lot of these MCs are still putting out music right now, and I'm naming people from '94. Certain level of originality. They're dope lyricists and they have dope albums. God, what do you have up next for your Demigod level?
So for Demigod, that's where like the Biggies and the J's come in, only because I reserved that God tier for the forefathers, you know, the Kings, the Rakims, Cool G Raps and shit like that. So Demigod would be artists like, you know, again, Big, J, Pac, Nas, And I'm kind of struggling with this, but in my heart of hearts, I feel like it's right. You know what I'm saying? Because it just, for me, I have to reserve a spot for the ones who came before them, you know? So, and for that Demigod spot, it's basically based off, again, staying power, the talent, because talent and skill is always big with me. That the capability to maintain that strong lyrical prowess. Some not as strong as others, but still be able to make like appealing music, and not just like on a pop scale, but just like we was talking about, just like make classic songs, like, and even classic projects. You know what I'm saying? And also to have like that some of what the guys got as far as like changing the game and influencing those that come after you. So it's kind of it's very similar to the God tier, but it's the God tier is more forefathers that ushered in, and the Demigod tier is kind of like, it's basically the same criteria, it's just more accolades because we further deeper into the game at this point, and you know, money is more abundant and you kind of get fresh perspectives, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's decent for Demigod right there.
All right, no doubt. So what you got up next for your lyrical level?
Yeah, I mean, it just obviously just slightly below the super lyrical guys, but so you don't have to necessarily decipher their lyrics. You don't have to. I mean, not saying you have to think on some of them, because they do have times where they can be complex and things of that nature. But it's not going to be like the Lupe, something like that. But I have like Common, you know what I'm saying, who is lyrical, dope songwriter, dope storyteller. But you don't really have to jump in a dictionary for certain words that you might have to do with, you know, some of these other guys that I hold in that super lyrical atmosphere or what have you. You know, Redman, even Jizza is very lyrical, but even I posted at one point how I look at Liquid Swords. Like, it's one of the most lyrical albums I've ever heard, but it's not super lyrical. He has dope lyrics, you know what I'm saying? He meets the point. He get to his point, you know what I'm saying, very creative with his rhyme and his wordplay. But again, you don't have to jump to the encyclopedia, but Jizza is very lyrical at the same time, but I wouldn't consider him super lyrical, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of look at the lyrical MCs like that. Like I said, Prodigy, Redman, somebody like Elzai, dope flow, lyrical, but again, it's not scientific rhyming, you know what I'm saying? It's just dope on the mic, you know what I'm saying? Right. They never let you down when they pick the mic up, you know what I'm saying? But they also at times won't blow you away necessarily, but you'll say, yo, that joint is very dope. But it didn't blow me away, but don't get me wrong, they can be super lyrical at times, though. All
right, no doubt. Rel, what you got up for your elite level?
All right, here's where mine goes off the rails. There's where So for elite, it was almost everything legendary, but missing one or two things. All
right, because your legendary was longevity, classic album songs, influence, and impact, right?
Yeah, so they might not have classic albums.
Okay.
I had the longevity that they wanted, something that they're missing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I had like Jada Kiss. I had like Beans, Cam, Push, Common, AZ, Lupe. Those are like examples, right? Someone I struggle with two people, and I need y'all help with. I want to know what y'all think. Where do we put Redman?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Redman is going into my and I kind of feel a little crazy, but I gotta have that top spot for the gods and them only. I'm putting Redman along with Meth in my mortal category. So it's like, it sounds blasphemous to call them mortals, but how the tier is set up, I feel like that's where they fall. And I'm not even gonna say Red don't have a classic. For me, I don't think Meth got a classic. You know what I'm saying? I like Tikal Judgment Day, but I don't think he hold a classic. I would give classic status to Muddy Waters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really fuck with that. But out of Red's whole discography, he just got that one super dope MC. We all know him, we all love him, but just like, I feel like just he not there. No disrespect, he's not there with the Nas's and the J's and the Bigs and the Pox. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's how you were saying, he just falls a little short. That's kind of how I got Red and Meth.
Okay. Right. And I love one of the things, boys and girls watching on at home, this is how you have an intelligent discussion. You know what I mean? because the reason why I'm saying that is because I love how God is breaking it down, because like he said, it's not black. It's nothing wrong with it, because he's like, this tier is up here and Red isn't with KRS, and then he's not on this level. So it's not like there's a knock or anything like that. So that's why I love these discussions. Bro, for me, he falls under my superstar, because remember, my thing is you got to have a dope album. Red got classic albums to me. You know what I mean? So he's actually over the dope album. He's a dope lyricist. Originality is there. When Red came in the game in 91, nigga, like, he got that. He got the legacy, because niggas still out here waiting for Muddy Waters 2. They were supposed to drop 12 years ago. Niggas still waiting for it. He's got dope songs, and he's well known. So to me, under my criteria, Red definitely falls under that. And it's the same with Meth, because remember, for my superstar, you don't have to have a classic album. You know what I mean? So Meth falls perfectly in there. Cam, to me, don't got no classic album. You know what I mean? Beans' third album is classic. I don't think Souls have a classic album. They got classic songs. You know what I mean? But AZ, to me, doesn't have a classic album. You know what I mean? But that's why I for my superstar level, it came down one from you just have to have dope albums. What's up?
Can I say something real quick, man? I appreciate your last few comments, because you probably saw what I said on Twitter earlier. Look, it's okay if a great MC doesn't have a classic album. People, if you're listening,
absolutely,
having a great album, having several great albums, even having several good albums is okay. That doesn't mean you're not a magnificent MC. Everyone can't have a 5 mic classic, culture changing type album, and that's perfectly fine. It doesn't diminish what they brought to the game. But some people think that it's not a classic, then it's whack. It's like nothing in between. It can't be like Method Man can have several dope albums. Jadakiss, to me, don't have a classic album. But he has several dope albums, and he's a great MC. Yeah. All great MCs don't have a classic album. It's hard to have a classic album. It's not easy.
That's because y'all know what a real classic album is. People just be calling anything classic now, so they don't. There's no in between. You know what I'm saying? Like when Kill do the mic system with his, and he'll say, "Oh, that joint was 3.5," and they take it as like that shit was horrible.
And that's good.
That's dope. You know what I'm saying? You know how hard it is to make a classic album, bro. Like it's difficult. You know,
it's hard to make a great album.
Exactly. So that's the problem. People just call anything classic. You know what I'm saying? Want to force that name on stuff after listening to it for 1 week. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. You know what I mean? So, like, bringing up Kiss, like, I'm a huge Jadakiss fan, but I'm not blinded by me being a fan that he has not made a classic solo album. He hasn't. You know what I'm saying? He got a couple dope albums, but not a classic one. So,
I want to say
he got was Kiss of Death.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to say too, Tony, your point, because of course the Super Bowl is coming up. Like, if you've been watching sports TV this whole week, it's hard to get to the Super Bowl. It's hard. Like, this is not just some shit you get drafted and you just get to the Super Bowl. Like, this shit is hard. Like,
Marino went one time and never went back.
Yeah, like that.
His rookie year.
Yeah.
His rookie year, and he like, man, I'm gonna go a couple more times. Never went back.
So that's the thing. I mean, it's hard to win a chip in this game. If we go back to the bad boy Pistons, I mean, Jordan had to take constant L's, you know, so it's not easy to do. And then number two, one of the things that I can look back at now that I'm older is also understanding that the industry having their hands in your projects also prevented a lot of people from making classic albums. You know what I mean? Because if the industry is telling you, if your A&R is telling you, God, you need 3 songs for the radio.
Got a deadline.
Yeah, and guess what that's going to do for the diehard hip hop fans? That's going to, them 3 songs ding you. So it's like, damn, man, I love God's album, but them 3 radio songs I can't fuck with. So I got to give him a 4. You know what I mean? Now that ain't God's fault. He ain't want to do no radio songs, but the industry made him do that. And the ebbs and flows of the industry, we could see it from back in the 80s when boom, it was like, yo, who was Kane's joint? I Can Do the Right Thing. No, that wasn't it. I Get the Job Done.
Get the job done.
That's when New Jack Swing started infiltrating hip hop. You know what I mean? So when you listen to the second Kane album, that shit kind of stick out like a sore thumb almost, because it's like, don't nothing else on that album sound like that. You know what I mean? But you know, they freaked it with the video, still had Scoop and Scrap in it, but that was to the side from what he was used to doing. So again, now I look back, a lot of these artists may have had classic albums if they were able to just do what they wanted to do. But so many of these artists that are on these major labels didn't have that opportunity to just make the music that they wanted to make. Ev, you gonna say something, or you?
No. Do you want my list?
Yeah. I didn't know if he was chiming in.
Real quick, I'll speak to the point. Before I give my list, I'll speak to the Redman point. I have Redman because I'm looking at Legend, Elite, and Underground. I think Underground is a little bit too low of a title for a Redman, but Redman's not a legend to me. So I will put him in that elite category. And also to come off of that, to give him my list, I realized, and these conversations are good because it makes me think, it makes me kind of like question some of the things I was thinking before getting into this session here. My legend does have personal impact. I can't sit here and have these lists and make it seem like there is no, I don't have a bias in it. There's definitely a bias, to be a legend, you have to have for me, you got to have some kind of personal impact. And the personal impact has to be like, I have to be impacted by it in some kind of way. So when I look at my elite list, my elites are dope. They just weren't legends. Like, to me, De La Soul, I love De La Soul. I think De La Soul is an elite group. I don't say think they're legends. Fugees is another one. People may have, I may get some backlash off of that, but I feel like Fugees are dope, but not quite legends to me. Gangstar, definitely elite. Common, I'll put Common in the elite category. I'll put Roots in the elite category at this point in time, even though they were underground for a very long time. And I'll even do something like, I'll put a Ghostface in the elite, even though I got Wu-Tang as a group in the legend category. But if I break it apart, Ghostface would only be elite to me. He wouldn't be necessarily a legend on his own. So my elite category is basically those that are not like underground is a little, it's not even, again, it has nothing to do with talent. It's like they have too much range to be considered underground. But they don't necessarily have the same impact as a legend. They're not going to be a Wu-Tang. They're not going to be a Nas. But but they're also not on the underground level at all either. So that's where my elite category comes into play.
Hey, can I pick it back off there?
Yeah,
go ahead, Tony.
Tone and God.
So I appreciate what El said the same way I appreciate what you said about the classic part, because again, being a dope MC, everyone in a dope group, everyone can't be a legend either in the culture. Everyone can't have a classic album, and everyone can't be a legend in the culture. It still doesn't knock them down a notch. Like El said, De La Soul not legends. Nothing wrong with saying that. Some people might think they are, but if you don't think they are, that's not a slight to them. You can still say there's a great group. It was great for their time period. They were consistent for a long time. Had a lot of amazing music. Still don't mean you became this legend, this cultural icon. Because and I don't want to put words in my mouth, El, but for me, a legend is a cultural icon. You know what I'm saying? LL Cool J is a legend. You know what I'm saying? So I can't now I gotta look at that tier. Who is on that kind of level? That's Run DMC. Right. That's Biggie. I know people say, "Oh, well, Biggie was on live for a couple of years." Biggie was special.
And the impact
of him being that special with Puff and what they did takes him to that legendary status. But not to be long-winded, but I agree with El saying, everybody can't be a legend, and it doesn't mean that they aren't fantastic.
Right, true.
What are you gonna say, God?
Going back to your point about the classic, it just made me think of this. And to guys that might not have came up in like the 80s or the 90s or even the early 2000s, and might have came around along the 2010s or a little later than that, do you think, or I would say this, would y'all agree that it's harder for artists in this era to make a certifiable classic? Because like, what is a certifiable classic these days than it was for the artists of maybe yesteryear or past decades? Because the reason I pose that question is because like, ain't nothing new under the sun, and that rings true for hip hop as well. So I could put out the same type of project that might have been considered classic in the 90s, but it's not necessarily a classic because it ain't moving nothing, and not necessarily a stature thing, but it's like, okay, we've seen that. It's time to go forward. It's time to elevate. We've seen that. You have it was once upon a time, you have a well-rounded album and do everything or whatever it was that you chose to do on that album extremely well. And because it was so well rounded, you kept your lyrical dexterity, you kept your skill intact, you got a knack for making songs, the content hit whatever it was, boom, you got a classic. You can still do that today as an artist, but it's kind of like, seen a backflip before. You know what I'm saying? Like, what else you got? You know what I'm saying? So what do y'all feel about that? Like, is it harder for artists today to make a classic?
If I can speak to that, I think that goes to what I was speaking to earlier as far as time frame. Like right now, when it comes to a classic album, most of these cats out here don't know what a classic album is because they're used to listening to singles. Listen to one track here, one track there, one track there. You know, everybody got playlists. Playlists don't involve no full-length album inside of it. So a lot of times people don't know what an entire project is supposed to be, how it's supposed to feel, how it's supposed to live with you, that whole thing. So trying to do a classic album today is super difficult. I was thinking it's very much difficult now as opposed to like in the 90s or in the early 2000s at that.
That's what I think.
That's why Kendrick Lamar, for me personally, is so impressive because when I heard Good Kid, Mad City, it took me back to like 80s and 90s type of music because he put together a total body of work. Mm-hmm. Each track led into the next track all the way to the end of the album, man. And then it also gave the West Coast a little bit more shine again. I hadn't seen that kind of shine since maybe The Game dropped a documentary. You know what I'm saying? So it had cultural impact. Good Kid, Mad City had cultural impact. So I would say for me, that's one of the few classic albums I've heard in the last decade. I would say To Pimp a Butterfly. I know some people might not like it. When you look at how high it was reviewed by every professional entity or what have you, then when I listened to it again actually the other day, and I was like, damn, I kind of slept on it's some
I really did.
The subject matter on To Pimp a Butterfly is fucking outstanding. If you can get past, like, let's say you don't like, I don't think you like some of the production, Kill.
No. Me and Am smile because this is the most infamous album. When Pimp a Butterfly dropped, we was like, yo, what the fuck is this bullshit, man? Fuck is this nigga talking about? What the fuck?
Me too.
We got like 24 hours later. It was like,
yo, this shit is amazing.
I kind of like this shit.
I was the same way, bro.
We listen institutionalized. How much a dollar costs? Mm-hmm. I mean, some of those songs on there, man, like it's Complexion. I mean, you're talking about a famous MC who did a super conscious album. You know what I'm saying? Right, and it's one of the last great mainstream conscious albums of the culture. So that's why I would say that impact. He got a award for it. You know what I'm saying? I would see. I think that was a Damn, I believe. Nevertheless, I would say Kendrick has done a lot of modern MCs over the last 10, 15 years haven't done, God, and that's produced classic material because it is very hard because we've seen it all, done it all. We've heard Paid in Full, we've heard Illmatic, we've heard Ready to Die, we've heard ATLs or whatever the case may be. So it is hard now. You have to put more into it. It's an F point. A lot of people now just make up a playlist. It's like the mixtape mentality. Everything is just thrown in a salad, you know what I'm saying? Instead of putting like a body of work that flows and keep a certain kind of theme or whatever. You don't see it that much.
Yeah. I think it's definitely harder. I think it's harder to make a global classic album. And what I mean by that is like everybody is like, this is a classic. I think nowadays it's really just about what speaks to you. You know what I mean? Like, I think Royce's Book of Ryan is a classic album because the subject matter, him talking about his dad being on cocaine and all the stuff that he had to go through in his life. And I think at just the age that I'm at, when that dropped, it was like, yo, this is what I want in my life right now. You know what I mean? I want music that I can relate to. You know what I mean? Or when Fonte dropped No News is Good News. I think that's a 5 Mic classic album. You know what I mean? Because again, he's talking about getting remarried again, raising your kids, burying your father. You know, he's talking about things that are speaking to where I'm living at right now. Now, for the 32-year-old, he may hear No News is Good News and be like, man, this is bullshit nigga talking about getting remarried and all this bullshit. And, you know, I want to hear about fucking Royce's Pop being on cocaine because we're in different mindsets. Whereas I think with hip-hop back then, all the hip-hop heads, not to say we were the same age, but I feel like with a lot of people, they kind of tap out of hip-hop. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is when I graduated in 96, Like probably by 2000, a lot of people who I thought were hip hop heads didn't even listen to it no more. Just because at that time, everybody listened to hip hop. It was the most popular thing to listen to. So when I'm still calling niggas in 2000, like, yo, you heard Gangstar new album? They like, nigga, I ain't listening to no Gangstar since fucking Daily Operate. Like, so I think it's like we were in this age, and a lot of people my age tapped out. I remember my older cousin, who, if I'm about to be 50, he's about 56. When he heard "Fuck the Police," he's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good. This ain't the Grandmaster Caz I grew up on. This ain't the hip hop I grew up on." Mm-hmm. So he kind of tapped out, like, "Nah, y'all cursing, y'all fucking killing people. Nah, this ain't the hip hop I know." The same way a lot of people my age have tapped out, like, "Man, what the fuck? This bitch naked, drill rap, all it." Nah, I'm tapping out. You know what I mean?
And that's another thing, bro. That's another crazy point. Like, I think this is hip hop's first intergenerational era, because just like you saying, like, everybody, like, I don't remember hearing stories of father and son enjoying Nas when he first came out. It was either, oh, he trying to sound like Rakim, or he trying to, I don't fuck with it, or whatever the case may be. Not saying that didn't happen, but it wasn't the norm. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the norm. So it's like, that's another thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first intergenerational fan era, you know what I'm saying, of like hip hop and rap music. So it's kind of like, damn, you have to appeal to maybe 2 more generations other than your own. You know what I'm saying? Like, to get that global classic status that we was just talking about. It's very interesting. Like, that's definitely an episode within itself.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Kendrick is I don't know if he was on this show, but we had this show and we were like, why is it that in the 2000s it was always J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick? And we realized, shout out to Easy, my man Easy Money from Boston, he said because they had the 3 biggest cosigns. Jay was co-signing J. Cole, Lil Wayne was co-signing Drake, and Dr. Dre was co-signing Kendrick. Yeah. And it was like, that's really it. Because it's like, why isn't Fonte's name in that list? And I said, because he didn't have that. We're talking about Dr. fucking Dre, legend, Jay-Z, legend, Lil Wayne. I'm going to throw that name and figure out later on. I got some names to figure out where we're going to put them. Lil Wayne is going to be one of them. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you where he is then. He a legend, bro. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So you got 3 legends co-signing, saying that these are the 3 next niggas.
But
and when you do it, what you said?
I'm sorry, is that the same thing as like Extra Piece co-signing Nas?
I don't think so, because I don't think Extra P. I don't think anybody. I'll give you good co-signs.
Co-sign Nas.
I'll give you good co-signs from our era. EPMD. When EPMD said this is DOS Effects, we was like, okay, bet, we listening. Mm-hmm. When EPMD said this is Redman, I was like, word, we listening. Mm-hmm. Like, those are the cosigns I remember from our era, that it was like, this is the next one. You know what I'm saying? And they delivered. DOS was ill as shit. Red was ill as shit. But to be honest, I don't really remember too many cosigns from our era. Run DMC really didn't have another group to co-sign. And
for me, Nas was, it was, Extra P and the white boy, what's his name?
Search.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that Extra P, like, yeah, I guess, because it's live at the barbecue. So yeah, I guess you could say, like, he co-signed him. But it wasn't Extra P's name that made me pay attention to Nas. It was Nas's verse on Live at the Barbecue that I was like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? Whereas I remember Classic's brother Walt. Walt was like, yo, EPMD about to sign some dude named Redman. He crazy. And I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? So, but just from it being EPMD, it was like, yo, this is dope. And God, this is a whole nother show. But I said this is where hip hop started to go downhill, because back in the day, if you co-signed your crew, it was your dope. And then once we started giving out record labels around 96, 97, you just started putting on your boys. They couldn't even rap. That's when you got the Saint Lunatics and fucking Eminem's friends and shit like that. It wasn't like that when we got the boot camp. When we got the boot camp, I don't know if he was there at I Love Morgan Day when we didn't even know who Helter Skelter was. We were just like, oh, this nigga was the star. It was like, oh shit, like, y'all done brought out Smith & Wesson, now you got Helter Skelter, now you got OGC, like, oh shit, this is dope. Like, that went away, because then it was just like, yo, I'm just giving all my boys record deals. And it wasn't about skill no more. You know what I mean? So I definitely do think it's harder to make that global album. I think with Kendrick, just that co-sign by Dre kind of gave him, Kendrick has this artistic freedom, and I don't know where it came from. you know, but somehow, some way, we just was like, cool, like make whatever kind of music you want, Kendrick. Like we're okay with him making different albums. But here's the wild part. This last album, then I felt like it was like, all right, we done. We tired of artists.
Because it went, I mean, it depends on the person. For me, the last album, he went, you know, but he went to a past my line, basically. Okay. You know what I mean? But, you know, that's not to say that it's not dope for somebody else.
Right.
But that's one of the things that I like about him is because that's why I put Kendrick in a certain category when it comes to my MCs, because he has changed the way that the form is received now. And because he has that ability to do that, you can't put boundaries on the person. You're gonna let them go as far as out they want to go. And he does that, and I'm sure some people like it. I mean, shit, he won, you know, he like Tone said, he won that award for Damn, which was like a Pulitzer he won or some shit like that.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. So, you know, I understand it, you know, but you know, it goes to everything ain't for everybody. You know, that last one wasn't necessarily my, you know, necessarily for me, but I don't think he made that album for my generation. He made that for somebody else, which I appreciate.
Right. And it's weird because
when you that artistic like that though, I feel like it makes sense that inevitably I never even heard the Mr. Morale and the Big Step was like just all the talk about it. Like I wasn't even really interested in hearing it. Like I kind of Damn was the last thing I really, you know what I'm saying, listened to from Kendrick, and it was cool, but it wasn't To Pimp a Butterfly and it wasn't Good Kid, so it was like, all right, you know what I'm saying, it's cool. And he also take his time in between albums, so I kind of like lose interest after a while, you know what I'm saying? So, but like I kind of it makes sense because Kendrick was always looking to push his art forward, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes that means going very left, you know what I'm saying? And that could be a detriment sometimes. Not to say it was a detriment for him, but I saw a lot of mixed reviews, you know what I'm saying, for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And I think that was just a part of that, you know what I'm saying? Like he was always looking to push his craft as far as he possibly could, and he went too left for some.
Yeah, but you know what? I will say that he went way left. It might not necessarily been beneficial for him, but I think for the craft, it allowed people, even myself, to do certain things outside of the norm of what we know as hip hop. Okay, it's not just putting out an album, it's not just, you know, doing videos. It's actually, okay, now we're gonna do some theater work, or we're gonna do this over here. Like, I think it opened up the doors for the artistic form to express itself in various ways. But I don't know if it was the best look for him personally. I agree with you.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think it was though, and just in my opinion, because when you that type of creative person, you can't lock this person in a box. They're gonna break out of it regardless. So you'll get a Section 80, then a Good Kid, then a Damn To Pimp a Butterfly. Then it's Mr. Morale was like his own therapy session. You know, man. Because when I listen to that song Mirrors, the last song on the album, Mirrors was just some other shit, man. And though I don't love the album, I can appreciate it for what it is. But that last song, Mirrors, man, I don't hear a lot of MCs who can really rap, would even try to do a song like that and be that vulnerable. Not too many MCs will be that vulnerable over the course of an album. I'm talking about some real personal things that you can't be macho with. You know what I'm saying? Because hip hop has bravado. You know what I'm saying? So anytime you don't express that bravado, somebody say he's a weirdo and this nigga soft. You know what I'm saying? So for him to be like that, to your point, I think he opened up the door for other people to be creative. And you know what? Some reviewers are not gonna love it because it doesn't fit a certain sound.
Right.
You know, that's like for when Nas did It Was Written, all of a sudden Pete Rock didn't do the album. So he's not the same MC anymore. You know what I'm saying? For some
hip hop.
He's not hip hop enough.
Right. It's funny because with Kendrick, with me, I almost feel like people, it's like the Wiz when it was like, yo, the color's green. Okay, now the color's red. And I felt like people like you said, God, I didn't see any good reviews about Mr. Morales at all. And it just felt like this is Kendrick doing what he fucking do all the time. This nigga's doing it D'Angelo. Guess what? Brown Sugar ain't sound like Voodoo. Fucking Voodoo ain't sound like Black Messiah. Like, you know, so I almost felt like the color's green now. Like, nigga, you can't, I mean, the color red. You can't do that artistic shit. Like, we
Kill, if you go to Google right now, you go to the wiki page of Mr. Morale, all the professional views gave this shit 4 or 5 stars.
But see, I think
you say us. It's not us. You know.
Right. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know me coming from my era. niggas pay for everything. So
Right.
niggas can pass somebody's pocket to make sure you give us a good review. But just hearing from the people,
Right.
the people weren't feeling this album. You know what I mean? It was too weird. And I'm not saying that it wasn't weird, but when I think back to Pimp a Butterfly was kind of fucking weird. You know what I mean?
First listen,
it's not no
like I
boom
couldn't
bap.
stand it.
It's jazz
Right.
musicians. That shit is weird. But it was cool when it came out however many years ago. Now it's like it's not, because like you said, guy, it takes so much time for him to make an album. I can't keep up with the dates, but maybe Griselda was popping during that time. So it's like, nah, we like that grimy shit again. And then when he came back with the weird, now it's too late because I done missed my window. Now maybe if you would have came out with motherfucking Mr. Morales a year after the Pimp a Butterfly and the color was still red, then you good. But nigga, you done waited too goddamn long. Now the color fucking green and niggas done moved on.
Yeah,
You know, because here's the thing. What is the next album gonna sound? Because I think the next album is really gonna say a lot about his legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
About like what it is. Because if it's weird again and people don't fuck with it, he's gonna be a thing of the past. You know what I mean?
I don't see him going backwards though. I don't see another Section 80. I don't see another Good Kid, Mad City. That's not Kendrick. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
I will tap into the next one because I'm interested to see. Okay, you've done this and this and that. Where are you gonna take it next? And I'm not doubting him or nothing. I'm just very curious to see what's left because you didn't cover so much. What's left? You know what I'm saying? And if he bounced back and he critically acclaimed again. Hey, it's time to elevate Kendrick, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like
he is already.
Well, I was watching something and they were talking about like who is the real Jalen Hurts? You know, like he had an okay year, then he had a Super Bowl year, then he had an okay year. So it's kind of like who is he? And this next year is going to show us who Jalen Hurts really is. Is he an all-star quarterback like that? And I feel like that's how it is with Kendrick. It's like this next album is gonna show us because guess what? Niggas still waiting for Cole. Niggas still niggas still loving Drake. Kendrick is the one out of those three that kind of was like, that was your first dud. You know, that was your brick. Like, and in the game, you can't have too many bricks, especially if you take 3 years between albums and niggas wasn't feeling your last album. We don't mind nigga waiting if the last album was crazy, but if the last album was a dud, nigga, you could be forgotten. It's the internet, nigga. Like, this is shit. You think some crazy back in the day? Remember when Tiger Woods got caught cheating? That shit was on TV like every day for 3 months. Nowadays, that shit would have been on for one day, and it would have been like on to the next one. So
I think when you have abstract styles like that, like a Kendrick, I don't think, to your point, when you have an abstract style, you can't take a long time to come back around because you wait for somebody to, like, people have already, it took them a minute to digest that style. And then you leave for so long, then you come back with this plate again. It's like, oh, we eating cheeseburgers now. We're not even doing that.
Moved on.
Right.
And I think that's the thing. But I will say this, and I don't know. Kendrick's pen has always been ill. And I think for me, I might be an optimist when it comes to certain MCs, but I think if he goes back into that, and I don't want to say back, because every time we go, it's not back. I think if he taps into that pen and into the sourcing of that, which was more about his environment, I think he may come out with something dope again.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But who's to say? I mean, he is a very abstract artist. He may be on some whole other page. And like everybody's saying, I'm intrigued myself to see what this next project sounds like.
Now, I will say this about the last album. Me and Nate went to his tour. And the thing I liked about this tour was it reminded me of tours in the 80s. Like back when Janet Jackson would drop the Control, well, if she dropped Rhythm Nation, that's what she performed. You know what I mean? She would do 1 or 2 songs off Control, but this was the Rhythm Nation tour, so we doing Rhythm Nation songs. Kendrick did that. Nigga sold out almost every arena across the United States. It was 20,000 people in there. He did a couple of songs here and there, but he did the Mr. Morales album, and niggas was loving that shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know where the disconnect was, but I do think that people were kind of like, in that time frame, niggas moved on. And it was like, it's why I stopped rocking. I always rock low, but then for a while, I started supporting like the black labels, like the Fat Farms and the fucking 555 Soul and all that shit. The problem with that shit is you go out and spend like a G on a whole new wardrobe, and 2 years later that shit be played out. You be like, God damn, nigga, I gotta buy a whole new wardrobe. I had all this Rockaware shit, My kids was like, nigga, you wear Rockaway? Fuck wrong with you? And I'm like, fuck. You know, and that's why I went back to low. Because low, you can just wear fucking
That shit hurt.
I got a quick question,
That
y'all.
shit hurt.
Has anybody ever watched that? I never seen the whole video for his concert. Has anybody ever watched the joint? Is it dope?
Which one?
I enjoyed the concert. The one that's on Prime for the.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I thought it was dope. I thought it was
Yeah,
dope.
I thought the show was dope.
I was like, nah.
You said not. You
No,
wasn't.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't
Oh,
see it?
I
Okay,
didn't
okay.
see
I
it.
never saw.
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't
didn't see
sure.
It's dope to me.
Yeah, me, I love the album, man. But it's the old man in me. I love niggas opening up, talking about being vulnerable. Like, you know, as men, we don't do that shit. You know, so me and Nate drove to the con. Usually when we go to shows, I don't listen to the artist going to the show because I'm like, I'm gonna hear your fucking song. We went to the show playing the album, rapped the whole album, drove home playing the album. So I liked it. You know what I mean? So, but again, guy, back to your point, I think it really is about making classics that just speaks to you, to that people. So it's almost like, I feel like now more than ever, Tribe didn't need to know who was our audience. They just made music. You know, I think now more than ever, we have to tap in and be able to say, who is my audience? Okay, if it's the 45 to 55-year-old crowd, what do these motherfuckers want to hear? You know what I'm saying? And can I deliver to them what they want to hear? You know what I mean? Type thing like that. Whereas I don't think a lot of these artists, they didn't have to do that. I don't think Redman sat back and thought, okay, who smokes weed? Like, it was just like, nah, nigga, I'm making this shit. Okay, before fucking The Chronic and Redman, I ain't know nobody who smoked weed. After them two albums, the world smoked weed. So back in those days, hip hop dictated. We told y'all what was dope, and then y'all followed us. And now it's kind of muddled where it's like, oh, I don't know what my audience want. I don't know. You know, I used to always say that about Tony Braxton. I'm like, Tony, you gotta stop coming out here being ass naked. Like the shorties who fuck with you now, they married with husbands, and they husbands is gawking over you in your video half naked. Like, you alienating your crowd because you're trying to keep up with these other chicks out here. Like, the chicks who liked you don't fuck with you no more because you half naked. They ain't got the same bodies they had when you came out with fucking Boomerang and shit like that. Right. So it goes back to understanding your audience. And I think that's the hard part with making classics now. It's why Griselda does what Griselda does. They know their audience and they make the shit for their audience. You know what I mean? So
that's what it should always be. If you're a real artist and you tapped into who you are, I feel like you should always do that first and foremost. Because if you're sitting around trying to think about what a specific section of your fan base want to hear, you in trouble already.
Oh yeah.
Before you even put pen to paper, before you even step in a booth, you in trouble. It's like, just do what naturally comes to you. Like, cast your net, and whoever you catch, that's whoever you catch. Because when you put too much energy into trying to grab a specific demographic, I ain't gonna say it's an automatic recipe for disaster, but it's like you walking on thin ice, bro. Like,
I think it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. It's like me and Rel just did a review of this cheesesteak spot in DC Capitals, and my beef with them was they had different kind of bread. I'm like, nigga, fucking stand on your bread. When we go to D'Alessandro's, do they ask us what kind of bread we want?
Yeah, that's what
nigga, we got this. The bread we got. This the bread you taking. You don't like it, don't come here. So it's like stand on.
You talk about the one where y'all had the seeded joints?
Yeah, I had the seeded. Rel got the Philly roll, and I was like, man, fuck this. Why we got different bread? This ain't Subway. The fuck I want the wheat bread, or I want the oat bread. Like, nigga, look, we got Amoroso bread. That's it. That's all the fuck we got. You don't like it, go somewhere else. So I agree with you guys.
That shit kind of threw me off when she asked us what type.
Yeah, like what kind of bread you want? Like, fuck you mean what kind of bread we want? But it goes back to your point. Make your bread and stand on it. And if your bread is dope enough, then people will enjoy your steaks. But you trying to come up with 8 different breads? Oh, there's vegan, and we got motherfucker. Get all that shit out of here and just make what you make. And niggas are gonna come if niggas gonna come. And I think it may go back to sometimes people may doubt their skills, because I think if you're nice enough, then you understand I don't have to make nothing special for anybody. I'm gonna just do what I do, and niggas gonna be attracted to that. You know what I mean? So I think it comes down to that too on the skill front. All right, cool. The next level I got are the pros. In the pros category, I only got 3 boxes for the pros. It may be more. We could talk about it. You gotta have a dope song, singular. Like, you may not have dope songs, but you got one. You got a huge underground rep. Like the underground people. I had to realize at one point in time, I'm not underground enough now, no more. There be people on Twitter tell me about motherfuckers. I'd be like, nigga, I am lost. I don't know. Because there's a whole nother level. And a lot of these people, I'm not saying you have to check this box, but a lot of these people have a cult fan base. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers love them. And some of these people are Lupac, Jurassic 5, Vinny Paz, with Jedi Mind Tricks, Nonfiction, Homeboy Sandman. Now, some of them names people are watching and have no idea who the fuck I just named. Literally are like, I'm oblivious. And they listen to hip hop every day, their heads, because these dudes are underground. But if you say Jedi Mind Tricks around a bunch of people, they have a cult following. And they're not stands, but they just have a cult following. I think when you really have really underground artists, and when they fuck with you, your fans understand the only way they're going to be able to help you is if they have a cult following. So I just want people to hear that. It's not a stand thing. Like, I'm on this nigga dick, but it's just, we really fuck with this dude. And because he doesn't have the promo push of other people, we're going to make sure that we support everything that he does. A
quick question for you. This category you're giving, is this the same level as our underground category that we're about to do?
Yeah, I think I only got 3, so I'm tapped out. I only got 3, so I'm tapped out after this. I'm just sitting back listening. So, y'all, I guess you all would have to decide like what kind of.
So this is your last category.
This is my last category. I only got 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I only got 3. So that's why it gets kind of iffy with me. God, what do you have? You've got your next thing is the Mortals. So who are the Mortals?
So my mortals would be artists like Twista, Redman, Meth, Common, Cannabis. And I struggle with putting this name there, but I even put Pun in there. I was going to throw Pun with like Jay and Nas and Big and Pac, but I just think this is one of those occasions to where I knew he had what he had based off what I saw, but I didn't get enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Baby and Capital Punishment was 2 totally different albums. I mean, he was still skilled, and I don't know if a lot of that was because maybe it wasn't finished and they just wrapped it up due to his untimely demise. But even with what he laid down, it's like it's the Kendrick thing. He was transitioning. He didn't feel like he needed to make another Capital Punishment, and that's kind of what I wanted. He was going for a more commercial route. You could tell by songs like 100%. It's so hard, you know what I'm saying? It's more melodic, you know what I'm saying? It's more dancey, you know what I'm saying? It's more cultural, you know what I'm saying, for him. So, but yeah, I'll put artists like that there, you know what I'm saying, who they may have some classic material with them. Like I say, I feel like Ray got at least one classic. In my opinion, Capital Punishment is a classic. Nigga like Cannabis had a lot of classic moments, like freestyles. Nowhere near that as far as like his discography, you know what I'm saying? But he was super nice. Like, he overcompensated with his ability for like a 3-year stretch, maybe a 3-4 year stretch. He overcompensated for what he lacked, artistically. You know what I'm saying? So that's my mortal level. So yeah, artists like Twista, like Redman, Common, Meth, you know what I'm saying, who did a lot, but it's just like they wasn't those. They not the demigods or the gods. You know what I'm saying? But they not far behind either.
Right, no doubt. It's funny when you said that about Pun. I've always wondered, like, did he want to do more commercial, or was the label pushing him to do more commercial? And I mean, we'll never know.
Probably the label. Yeah, I think I would say, if I had money to bet, I would probably say it was kind of like the label, because I think they saw what he could be.
Yeah, they won't allow. But I think the thing is, what I've learned, 49 years of walking the earth, there's a gift and curse with everything. Everything that comes across your plate, there's a gift, there's a curse. The gift was that How to Be a Player blew the fuck up. It was on the radio. It was everywhere. Everybody loved it. And the great thing is when a label sees that kind of success out of you, because that's bringing more money in for them, we got to do that again, my nigga. We got to do it again.
And push the platinum.
Yeah. And the thing is that song was just made. You know what I mean? So I don't think, I don't know, but I'm assuming it wasn't made. Maybe it was made to go for the radio, but it still had. We played that shit on 889. You know what I mean? So it's not like it was so commercial that an underground station didn't play it. You know what I mean? But now, okay, like, God, me and you made a song that just came naturally, but now the label is telling us we got to make another one. And when you don't know how you made what you already made, like without the recipe, now we just throwing shit in a motherfucker. Nigga, I don't know how to make grandma recipe. I don't know how to make this mac and cheese. We'll just fucking throw the noodles in. I don't know how much milk or eggs and it just can turn out a mess. So, I've always, it's the gift and courage. That shit blew him up and got him into a lot of, got his name heard. But then at the flip, the label's always going to be like, we want another one.
Look what that shit did for Joe. I would bet money that Joe had that shit, because that took Joe from digging in the crates to like damn near being a sex symbol almost. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like they were seeing a whole different demographic with the chicks. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. Like that. Pun was the key ingredient, the catalyst to that whole Terror Squad and they elevation, you know what I'm saying, into that brief moment of superstardom they had. So I'll probably say Pun was getting that pressure from all directions to, and plus, what was that? 98, 99, 2000, like so Bad Boy.
That joint was 97, 98.
Capital Punishment. Yeah, Capital Punishment was 98.
Okay.
Yeah. And Yeah Baby was 2000. I think he died in February of 2000, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere around there. So, or the album came out in February of 2000, but one of those. But it was still very much like glossy. Exa came out and muddied shit up. But like I feel like around that time, 2000, like Jay was still doing his shit. You had Puff making his resurgence after the untimely passing of Big and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? He was coming back with G-Dep and shit like that and Make This Money and all that. You know what I'm saying? So I could see it. And 2000s, that was kind of like the beginning of the big boom where like the money was in abundance as far as like the rap shit. Like it started prior to that, like late 90s. But I feel like the 2000s is where that shit exploded. You know what I'm saying? The money was fucking crazy. Like you could just tell by the videos. That's where you get the $1 million budgets and shit like that. Hype Williams and his rise to stardom. So I'm pretty sure Pun had pressure from all sides, all parties involved to, you know what I'm saying, go a more mainstream route for the sophomore effort.
Yeah. So what you got up for your good songwriting MC?
Yeah, songwriter. Just
because this is your last joint, right? You only had 3 too.
Yeah, I had some. I got stuff all over the place because I didn't quite know where we were going, but because I got album stuff and all kind of stuff. But anyway, the songwriter is like the relatable MC. The MC that's you can follow pretty easy. They it's someone I would look at like Drake, Kanye. Even a Fonte, the songwriter, he can write songs. You know what I'm saying? They're not hard to decipher. Again, it's easy to follow. Like you said, he made that even like Charity Starts at Home album with Fonte. It's an easy album to follow to me, even though it's dope rhyming on it and all that stuff like that. But it's just the songs are, the song structure is very good. Kanye can make songs regardless of how much help he has or whatever. When the song is delivered, it's delivered. You know what I'm saying? So he's a very good delivery on making songs. Drake, whether he write all of them or not, that's a debate people always talk about. But he's had points and times where he delivered and people related to it. So you can hear some of these guys' songs in the club. You can hear some of these guys' songs riding in your car. You know what I'm saying? Like multiple environments you can listen to them because they're very relatable. But most of these guys might not be considered very, very lyrical. Now don't get me wrong, Fonte is lyrical. And he can probably go up against most MCs, but at heart, I think he's a songwriter. That's why the Foreign Exchange did so well, and stuff like that, because at heart, I think he's a songwriter more than anything else. But if you want to get in his lyrical bag, he'll tear your ass up. But I just think this is that third tier of just some good MCs. They can write songs.
All right. Yeah. Well, you've got your respected veteran John left.
Yeah. So this is they have dope songs and projects, a cult following of some sort, but maybe lacks the impact or maybe the influence or the longevity of the rank above them. And that is Trey Lee was good.
The Philadelphia legend is in the building. See how I said that, everybody? The Philadelphia legend. He is a Philadelphian legend. Okay?
I appreciate it. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
What's going on?
Chilling, bro. Okay, call it.
What I missed, man? What I missed? Shit.
We some good conversations, bro. We all broke down our different levels. For me, it's Hall of Fame, Superstar, and Pros. My man God got the God tier, the Demigod, the Mortal, the Pedestrian.
I like that.
Tone got super lyrical, and good songwriting MCs.
I like that.
Rel got legend, elite, respected veteran, popular underground, and super underground. And Ev got legend, elite, underground, and local.
Woo! I like the breakdowns, man.
So right now we have.
Where you at? Where y'all at?
We had Ev's. No, I'm sorry. We had Rel's respected veteran. I only had 3, so I already did my 3. So we had Rel's respected veteran.
Oh, let me go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, like I was saying, dope songs and projects. Some sort of like a cult following of some sort, but maybe lacks the impact or lacks the influence or the longevity of the elite that's above them on my list. Some examples, and it's, some of these people I like a lot, but Beatnuts, Black Moon, Currency, Royce, OC, Ransom. Those are my examples for respected veterans.
Okay.
Now,
for you, what's your time frame for veteran? Because I know, oh God, you just said his name, Ransom. Been around for a minute, so I know he's been around. So, what is your time frame to be considered a veteran?
I didn't really have one. I would say over 10 years, I guess.
Okay, all right.
Like Ransom is new to some people, but
Right, but he's been with the A team. He's been around for years.
Like 20 years almost.
Yeah,
Ransom's been around for a while, so he's a veteran. So those is, and it's some names that I just don't know where to put them, but I think the respective veteran, I think that fits.
All right.
I got
throw out some of your names, bro. Throw out some of your names that you say you don't know where to put them at. I'm just interested to hear who they are.
Fabulous.
Fab. I would say I would put Fab in that category. I got rid of Meth.
Okay. Fab would go
For me personally.
And what category? That was
my Mortals. That was my Mortals.
Okay.
So God, Demigod, then Mortals.
Okay.
For me, Fab would go on my superstar. Because remember, I only got 3 levels. So that's what makes mine so goddamn simple. Because, and the thing is, shorties know Fab. Like, Fab been around since 2000. You know what I mean? So he's been it's crazy to say, but he's been in the game 24 years.
And successful.
Yeah, and successful at it, whether it's just his verses on R&B songs or, So, yeah, I would definitely put, for me, superstar.
So this group goes in my legend, but it might not go in other people's. Where does Mobb Deep?
It's a hard one. I'm trying to figure it out.
That's a good one.
Underground.
I gotta put Mob where I put I gotta put Mob where I put
in your Mortals, right? Because I don't think Mob is up there.
Because I was about to say I don't know if they're demigods, man. I kind of want to say yes, but some is pulling me towards the mortal category more so.
Yeah, now Mob ain't up there with Big J and Pop. Yeah, they ain't up there. They not up there with Big J, Nas, and Pac. Like, and I love Mob, but
they one tier under them. Yeah, one tier under them.
So that would be a lead.
That's close. That's close. That's close.
That would be a lead on mine. Okay,
right. Rel, do me a favor, because I got a whole list of names I want to end with before a guy gets off. Text me who else you got, and then I'll add them. Oh, we can throw it out. You ain't got to text me. We'll just throw it out together. Because, Ev, you got 2 more. So, Ev, what is your underground?
My underground is actually the list that I listen to the most. My underground, because I said it's not a slave by talent. My underground, my criteria was really albums and MCs that had connection. Like I can pull this album up and tell you where I was at what point in my life and what I was doing. It's probably the albums I listen to the most. So there's definitely a life connection there. A lot of it, I have to say, is regional because for me it's music that I walk with, that I move with. So for me to do that, it has to be something that I can kind of relate to. So it has to be relatable to my environment. So it's environmental music too as well. And in that list, I have Boot Camp, I have Mobb Deep, I have Alcoholics, I have OC, Organized Confusion, Most Def, J. Rue the Damager, Diamond D, Old Dirty, and Jizza. just for a couple examples. So these are albums that from like 19 to like 32 is the stuff that just was in my rotation heavy. And it was, it's some hip hop albums that you kind of look back, you hear certain quotables that you can, that you can grow with. Some of these cats have said shit that that have helped me, evolve as a person. So, and that's my underground category right there.
All right, I'm tapped out. So, Rel, what you got? God, what you got for your pedestrians?
All right, so my pedestrian tier, that's kind of like a microcosm of like the mortal tier. So my pedestrian tier will have a lot of like hometown heroes, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of how Ev was saying, like regional legends, you know what I'm saying? They might be popping in like the Midwest or a pocket here or a pocket there, but they don't have that national impact like that. So I got artists like from the crib, like no disrespect, but like a Psychodrama, a Crucial Conflict, or Do or Die. You know what I'm saying? Artists like that I love, you know what I'm saying, and that I grew up on, but they didn't necessarily transcend like those other tiers, hence them being where they are, you know what I'm saying? But I don't mean like the music didn't hit or nothing like that. It just mean that they all had a run, but the backing and the push just wasn't nowhere near those other three tiers. You know what I'm saying? They still got that, and some of them still got that lasting power to where they still doing music. You know what I'm saying? To this day, it's just that they never made it as far as like those other artists from those other tiers, but still shit that I grew up with, very similar to what Ev just broke down.
Right. Trey, real quick, you got what's good with you, bro? You got your levels or anything, or you just chilling with us tonight?
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna, because I wanted to come in here and kind of whoever I heard, wherever you had certain people in certain tiers, I kind of want to be the devil's advocate. Like, how the hell you got him in that tier? You know,
we almost there, bro. We almost there. It's like almost everybody's last tier. So I got a whole list of people. So we almost there.
Okay, cool.
All right, so who you got on your no, you're done. You only had three.
That was my 3 tiers right there.
Bro, you got popular underground now.
Yeah.
All right, who you got on your popular underground?
Like Lil Brother. When Raucus was popping, Sky Zoo, stuff like that. Those are it's kind of self-explanatory. They're basically based underground, meaning an underground label or looked at as underground, but a lot of people know them. You know what I'm saying? They got some popularity to them. You know what I mean? Like Raucus was an underground label that got kind of popular after a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where I got for popular underground. And then you want me to do my last one too?
Yeah, do super underground too. And
then super underground is just like local, or like some of the artists that we listen to now, like I Am God. Some of the artists that we listen to now that kind of we like more than some of these other more popular people, you know what I'm saying? So those are the super underground, and it's for the tier, it's not like a slight, it's just the exposure, you know what I'm saying? But for real, when we did the wrap up of this past year,
Porsche,
the underground, the local underground, the people that we know that we talk to sometimes on this show and on Twitter, and like they carried the year for us. As far as you know what I'm saying?
And for people watching who may have not peeped that show, we were doing a 2023 wrap up. And we all were talking about how of a subpar year it was until Porsche came in and was like, I thought the year was great. God dropped the album, Mayor dropped the album, Trey Lee dropped the album. And it was like, it made all of us kind of sit back and kind of say like, and I don't do the shit on purpose. Shit is people I produce. So if anything, I'd be doing it. But I think I've just been so, it made me have to step back and stop putting Conway and them over here. It's almost like it made me to stop making tiers. You know what I mean? Because it was like, I never thought to put God's album in the top 5 album because I put God over here in the underground tier, and then we talking about this tier. But then after Portia's like, well, really the underground is what held 2024 down. And when she's naming people, we're like, we need to start putting these people in the same category because the people that we're talking about, we're saying it was a horrible year. So it's not even like we like, oh no, these niggas was holding it down over here. Like to this day, I was like, yo, Killer Mike is my #1 album last year. I don't even know what the fuck came 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. I was just picking albums out the fucking air. That's how weak the year was. But I'm not including albums. And I think a piece of that is because I don't want it to seem like it's personal bias. Like, well, of course, Kill gonna say Trey Lee album, he produced a song on there. Of course, he gonna say God because he fucking cool with this nigga. Of course, he gonna say so.
We got to stop that shit. I like
yes,
right now.
Yes,
we have got to stop that shit. I don't give a fuck if I know you my brother. I done known you for fucking 50 years. If the shit is hot, it's hot, and I ain't got to explain.
Incredible is incredible.
Right.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck if I don't give a fuck what you say. God damn it. I know him. That's my guy, and his shit was hot.
Trey Lee came in like my pop. Like, motherfucker, Kill, stop doing that nut ass shit, nigga. Stop doing that shit.
No, but not, it ain't at you. It's at
I agree. When Porsche said that, it just made sense. Like, it just clicked. It clicked for all of us. Me, Rel, everybody who was on that show was like, damn.
Y'all gotta watch it. We were so stuck.
Like, you can see our faces. We like,
I see it. I see it. It was funny as hell, low key.
Right. I put an album out this year, and she mentioned my name, and I'm the one saying the year was whack. And I was like, damn. started just going down the line of everybody's album, Trey Lee, I Am God. She just kept, and I'm like, damn. Those are the albums that we were rocking to this year. The year wasn't bad at all. If you really want to look, we was looking at it in a totally wrong way, and she kind of just like shut it down. Like if you watch it, you'll see we were just like everybody was stuck. Like, damn,
I'm watching that shit,
and I'm 100% with Trey Lee because it's like it's time for those lines to start being blurred because not taking myself out of it. You take me completely out of it. It's motherfuckers with no major backing, no major independent backing, no semi-major independent or semi-independent backing that's putting out incredible art that's just as good, if not better, than motherfuckers that have much more popularity. And again, take me completely out of it. Like, I'm watching this shit, and I'm proud to be in the class and a crop of underground artists that, you know what I'm saying, I'm among. Like, I'm ecstatic that these motherfuckers is my peers. Like, they inspire me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, and that's a part of my personal hunger. It's like, okay, I definitely understand that I still got a 9 to 5. I'm nowhere near a Conway or a Benny or whoever you want to name. But my goal every time I step out is to compete. Like, I'm a competitor at the end of the day. I might not have them on my mind when I'm creating and making my music, but the end goal is to compete. Like, I definitely want to be known as the best, if not the best, one of the best. Like, that's my mission. I still live by the old guard, the 90s and the early 2000s, to where, like, before I die, I need the masses to collectively say, no, that nigga I Am God is the best right now. Ain't nobody fucking with him. You know what I'm saying? I need that for me personally. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, this is a perfect time to blur those lines.
And that's all the more reason, again, for you to stop saying, take me completely out of it. Fuck that. Put me in it. Me along with the rest of these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to stop. Like, we're humble, good people. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, it's hard for us to toot. And I'm really talking to myself. It's hard for us to toot our own horn. But fuck that shit. Because what happens is you allow others to put out this narrative, like thinking, oh, it was a bad year. No, it wasn't, because there was some other motherfuckers over here that was cooking crazy. And y'all neglected it. And y'all didn't go figure out where it was. And y'all missed out on that shit. So that don't mean it was a bad year. It's just y'all stuck in that stat quo shit. That is that. So whenever we speak, we gotta speak, nigga. My shit and my people's shit is crazy, and I don't give a fuck what y'all say. And it ain't favoritism, nigga. I got an ear and it's hot. Period.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's also unfortunate. It's unfortunate every year we base the quality of that year on popular MCs or popular artists from big labels.
Absolutely.
When in essence, most of the pure and quality music is from the underground at this point. You know what I'm saying? Most of major label music is not that good. Like we talk about Benny, for example, and it's not the shit on him. Yeah, he has a decent album, but it's his Def Jam debut. But most people will say his more underground projects are more quality. You know what I'm saying? And this one didn't reach the mark of what a major debut would be. But that's how we look at the art. And it's unfortunate, man, that we always look at these big names, and if they don't drop some hot shit, the year was fucked up. When the year wasn't,
it was a fail.
The year was great.
Right.
Hey, get in them cracks and them crevices, y'all.
Yeah, I'm so
Everybody that's
too,
gonna be watching this, get in them cracks and them crevices.
And one thing I will say real quick too is I tell people on Twitter all the time on social media, we're in the age of information. So a lot of fans are fucking lazy. If you don't, they'll come to me and say, "Hey man, what's that link?" Man, Google the shit, bro. It's a lot of music out here. Don't
say that again, bro. Say that again.
I'm not sending you a fucking link. Go look it up.
Yo, Trey the guest pastor today, man. You know, he coming for the collection plate. nigga came to church an hour and a half late. He coming for the collection plate.
Yo, y'all gotta
I'm about to come out
man.
the pocket right
You're
there, bro. You got it.
Listen, y'all gotta
This nigga Eddie Kane Jr. sliding in right before we go on stage. Man.
Yo, y'all gotta forgive me, man. It's like it's a perfect storm because I just been thinking about this shit like really since the top of the year, and it's like, man, if we don't start speaking up, bro, the narrative gets fucking changed to some shit that we know we disagree with, but we don't never say shit as a collective. We just sit back and say, "Oh, that's cool. They just don't know," or "That's cool. They just lost." Now, fuck that. We gotta even this shit out, man.
They trying to change hip hop history every day, Trey. They trying to change hip hop history every day. That we got platforms now where we got to keep documenting this shit. Or like I said the other day, if we don't keep documenting this shit, 50 years from now, the face of hip hop gonna be Eminem. No slight to him, amazing MC, but the face got to be Run DMC or LL Cool J. It can't be Eminem. I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying. But if we let this shit, we don't document this shit, he gonna be the face of hip hop in 50 years.
Some of us still coming out that conditioning. Some of us still coming about that conditioning to where like that industry conditioning to where it's like, oh, if this motherfucker name ain't everywhere, then he ain't on shit. Or if her name ain't everywhere, then she ain't on shit. She must not be that good. And that's that industry shit. Like the whole ageism shit. That was some industry shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we didn't got past, we know now a 36, 37-year-old motherfucker could still get on and have his big breakthrough or her big breakthrough and go crazy. It's getting there, but it's not there yet as far as the popularity. I feel like we breaking down the walls of the ageism shit, and it's better than it was. It's not where it need to be. It's better than it was, but we still suffering from the popularity shit. But that's life. Like, think about how many different aspects of life outside of music to where popularity rules. So I don't know how successful we gonna be able to be with the popularity aspect, as in, because it's still a condition of, if it ain't put in my face, it must not be worth checking out. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm always so grateful to brothers like Kill and sisters like Miss LB and whoever else that actually still value word of mouth and will put they peers on to my music. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit is important, bro. Like, that shit'll never not be important. That shit is invaluable. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Ev, I don't want to leave you out, bro. We still got your local joint.
All right, my last one is just my local joint. This is local / I think you had the category you had was super underground.
Yeah.
This is and to take away this bad connotation that this idea of local has. People think local and they think, oh, they must not be as good because they wasn't able to hit as much range. I'm completely opposite of that. I'm like, yo, these are people whose pen was impeccable. Despite of how much range they had, their pen was impeccable, and unfortunately, many people missed out on some of these jewels that came through. So I'm gonna run through it. One was Bad News from 100X, Ridiculous MC. Another one is Planet Asia, and I only say Planet Asia because I'm surprised at how many people are not familiar with Planet Asia.
Oh no,
this dude
still going,
fucking ridiculous, and still going, and his pen is just impeccable. Now I'm gonna go back a little bit. Trends of Culture. I'm gonna say EST. I'm gonna say Crucial Conflict. I'm gonna say Tough Crew, and I'm also gonna say like Hard to Obtain. So it's groups that may have not people ain't really like get hit to them for whatever reason, but it's no slight against the work that they put in and how impeccable. When it comes to the local cat, it's all about your pen, and their pen is just ridiculous.
And I got one shout out too, man. Just kind of go with what Ed was saying. You know, I'm in North Carolina, man. So what one cat down here named Big Remo. He used to be with Knife. You know what I'm saying? So Remo nasty. He part of my folk. I'm from Winston-Salem. So all us came up together, what have you. So Remo is nasty, man. And you know what I'm saying? And he was spitting that shit like Ben and Conway and them was before them. You know what I'm saying? When he was releasing shit with Knife. So, you know, shout out to him and another group that used to be down here on Jam also. These two guys named Actual Proof. They have a CD called Blackboard Radio. And I always say this is the young version of Camp Low to me. They laugh when I say that, you know what I'm saying? But these cats, Actual Proof, Blackboard Radio, then they also have this joint called The Talented Tenth, man. Where it's a double CD. One CD is like the Martin Luther King side. The other disc is like the Malcolm X side, the more revolutionary side of whatever. These cats are nasty, man. You know what I'm saying? Also shout out to Rhapsody, you know, that's all North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So, and she ain't real underground now, but still kind of underground.
Reem is nasty.
Reem nasty, man. He got some new shit. He sent me some new shit, man, about a year ago. He still got some new joints, but he can really go, man. But he's in Atlanta now, man, and he's still releasing music, man. But it felt like more of a hobby now, even though he got some dope. I mean, he got this album called Entrapment. Entrapment is dope. You know what I'm saying? And Sleepers is dope too. Yeah, man. Check out Big Rainbow. Check out Actual Proof, man. Them niggas nasty.
All right, no doubt. So definitely a dope show we gonna go through. I got a couple of MCs to figure out where we gonna throw them at. Trey, I'm gonna give you mine real quick. My levels was Hall of Fame, and being a Hall of Fame, you had to check 8 boxes: household name, classic albums, impact, originality, longevity, which could also be tied to your impact, so you could see big for that. Your top tier MC, legacy, and classic songs. Now, the superstar level was you didn't need classic albums, but you needed dope albums. You were a dope lyricist. You had originality and legacy. You didn't have classic songs. You had dope songs. You're not a household name, but you're well known. And then the last one was the pros, which you had a dope song, maybe just one. You have a huge underground rep, and you probably got a huge cold fan base too. You know what I mean? Now I got some names to throw out there. Where does Eminem go? Where are we putting Eminem?
Oh, that's the first category.
You put him in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm putting them in my second only because I reserved that God tier for Kane, Cool G, Rakim, KRS. I felt like, for me personally, they needed their own space. Because even though, again, the game looked totally different for everybody else after them, like sales and shit like that, but they impact made up for a lot of that. So for me, M is going in there with like Jay and Nas and Big and Pac and shit like that.
What tier is that?
So mine was that's the second tier. I had God tier, Demigod tier, Mortal, and Pedestrian.
Tone, you got him in your super lyrical realm. Where's M for you?
Legend.
And what about you, Ev?
All right, here we go.
Hey, that laugh said it all.
Now, this is my thing. I'm not against M. I'm not the biggest M fan.
Me either.
Because I feel like as an MC, he got flaws, and that's my personal opinion. I think, you know, and I'll just say it real fast. One of my things is, if you have issues riding the beat, you're never going to be but so high for me. And I feel like he has issues riding the beat. So I would put Eminem somewhere in there. Either I'm thinking more underground, which is my third tier, but maybe my elite is somewhere in there. It's not like his pen is. He's still a dope MC. Don't get me wrong. He's still a very dope MC, and it's not a knock to that. But he's not a legend to me. My first tier is legend. To me, that's a big word. So I can't put him in legend. So I would say probably somewhere in elite or underground. Now I would think underground is probably a little too low for M, so I'll probably say elite.
To live quality.
Underground.
You going in there with my Mortals?
He lyrical.
Yeah,
All
that's about right.
Second tier for me.
Bro, where you putting him?
Talib, Popular Underground.
All right.
Yeah,
Where's Kendrick Lamar go?
I say Legend.
Elite.
At this point, I gotta put him with the demigods.
Yeah, I would put Kendrick in my Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he up there, man. For me.
I like Demi in Hall of Fame based on the description. I can't remember the other descriptions, but Demi in Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I can rock with that.
Because he definitely a household name. He got classic albums. He has the impact. Originality is there.
Yeah.
Longevity, top tier MC, legacy, classic songs. You know what I mean?
He managed to move units in an era to where units wasn't even really, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
him and Cole, besides like Drake, of course, he got the algorithm down pat, but besides Kendrick and Cole, shit, well, nobody really even going platinum like that.
Right. Master Ace. Oh, my fault. Go ahead, Trey.
Hold on, real quick. Okay, so now that I'm thinking about it, with the M situation, it's funny. I said Hall of Fame based on yours, and I think he's a demigod based on yours. But the problem is with me, I don't really like none of his albums. Albums. You understand?
Yeah.
So you know that's where, you know, I'm like, I think he's a tremendous spitter. I think he has songs that songs that I like. I think he's been around for a minute, you know what I'm saying? But then when I break it down and like bodies of work, like as a whole, I don't rock with none of them albums.
Nah, me either.
It's
That's
hard for me
understandable.
because
I'll rock with him from like 99 to like 03, but still, out of that crop of albums, however many albums that was, it might have been like 5, I can't remember. But the ones that I'm most partial to is probably the Marshall Mathers LP and the Slim Shady LP. That was his first 2.
Right.
I rocked with the shit that came the next 2, maybe 3 after that. But it's like 2003 is like my cutoff year for him. Like I never really felt no more M after 03. It was a couple songs here and there that came out, but it's kind of like, and I don't mean to sound away, but it's kind of like after he sobered up and, you know what I'm saying, and he started doing a recovery and shit like that, it's kind of like,
well, I mean, I've always heard that that's the knock on M. From M fans is like, he sobered up and got worse. And Roy sobered up and got better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And see, for me, I'm just looking at it like, I think the first 2 albums, at least the first or second, you could pick which either one. I know some people have them both as classics. That checks the box for classic albums for me. So for me, it's not even about like, because niggas know I ain't a big Eminem fan. I just had a whole week of Eminem stands coming at me. I told niggas he was a 5 mic MC, but I'm not a fan. And all they heard was, I'm not a fan. Right. I'm like, did y'all not see me say I sent this nigga?
My way. I tell him I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Here's the problem.
Hit me up.
Y'all love
I'm not a fan. Nothing that can ever say this gonna make me.
That's the problem. Like, that's the nigga.
I mean, and the thing is, it's not a knock. I think he's a dope MC. I was like Trey. I don't listen to none of his albums.
Nah, I feel.
And it's not like I haven't heard dope shit from him, because I have. Yeah. But I haven't heard a complete good body of work from him. So
right, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. All right, Master Ace. Where we putting Ace?
Man.
Underground.
I only got 3 levels, so he in my superstar level. He in my second tier. I mean, he's got classic albums to me. He's been in this game since shit. I was in 10th grade. Like, he's been in this game. Take a look around. Came out when I was 15. The nigga just dropped the album last week, and I'm about to be 50.
He doesn't have a bad album, dog. Even if it ain't great, he has good albums his whole career. He doesn't have any whack one. He's consistent, dope storyteller.
And again, remember, my superstar joint is dope album. He's got that. He's a dope lyricist. Originality, legacy. Like I said, he's 15 when Me and the Biz came out. I'm about to be 50, y'all. Yeah. Like, nigga, you know, got dope songs, and he's well known.
He's one of my personal favorites.
He's a dope,
and I make no bones about it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's in my underground category, that's my most listened to MCs. Right, that's some underground, and you know, Ace I can't forget when he did this shit with the cat from Boston. I can't think of his name right now.
Ed O.G.
And them cats is still spitting. Like,
Ed O.G. still can spit.
Just nasty with it. So yeah, Master Ace is always going. You know, I tip my hat to that cat.
We all put Naughty by Nature.
Tretch, you mean?
You will Tretch.
It's not even on the list.
Right, well, Tretch.
Tretch is dope, man. I mean, you know, he can make street bangers. His flow is ridiculous. He original.
Mm-hmm.
He can make hard shit, club shit, radio. He can perform. If you ever seen Naughty by Nature live, the niggas can perform. You know what I'm saying? Like, he in my second tier.
Is he a god or a demigod? God.
He's immortal for
me. He's immortal, but he got the talent of a demigod, the skill of a demigod. But I gotta put him in immortal because the boxes I had with the demigod, like demigod got Jay, Nas, Big, Pac. Is like he wasn't there, but respect wise, that's where it gets sticky for me. You know what I'm saying? He got all the respect, but my thing is all encompassing. You got to have a little of everything to be put at a certain height. You know what I'm saying? And Tretch, although he has a lot, he fell short of some of their accolades and their success. And it's not all about that. But again, I need to be all encompassing as much as possible, but still embody the spirit of the skill and, you know what I'm saying, like the essence of it, you know what I'm saying. And I gotta put him with Meth and Red and you know what I'm saying, who else I got in that category? Meth, Red, Common, Cannabis, Pun, Twister. Like he go there for me personally.
Yeah, because he definitely ain't in my Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said he definitely ain't in the Hall of Fame for me.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a legend.
You know, because to me, Naughty don't have a classic album for me. You know what I mean? They got two very great albums, but not, I mean, the
Classic
longevity.
choice.
The thing with Tretch to me is like Pooba. Like for about 2-3 years, for a good 2 years, he's one of the most crazy MCs walking the planet Earth.
Ran it. They literally
problem,
ran it. Like
right,
it wasn't it was good. They ran.
Yeah. But the thing is that longevity to me, you know, isn't there. That legacy isn't there. They got the classic songs, but they don't got the classic albums. And I don't even really know the impact of Tretch. You know what I'm saying? If we really looking at impact and what he forced people to do, like I don't really see nobody coming after Tretch like, oh, I rock a machete now, or I got the braids now, or I'm rocking the Carhartt suit now. Like,
but they was rhyming like for a second.
Oh yeah, most def.
There was a whole lot of cats in the industry that was rhyming just like him. And
but like you said, but the problem is for a second. That's the thing. Like, you know what I mean? That's the thing with him and Pooh Bah. But there was a time when Pooh Bah, whatever time frame it was, he was the dopest MC. If a song said featuring Pooh Bah, I was all in. You know what I mean? So again, for Tretch, and again, it's no knock. Like, but I can't put Tretch. I can't put Tretch's name with Run DMC, Biggie, Tribe, Ice Cube, NWA, and LL, Outkast, and Nas.
I agree with that.
I can't put Tretch there. And again, it's no knock. It's no knock.
All respect.
Rayquan, where we putting Ray at? The chef.
Underground.
Another mortal.
Yeah. What about you, Ralph?
I was gonna ask you, bro, where you got him? I see
here the look on Ralph's face look real hurt right now.
Because
I mean, as much as I love Ray, he only got one classic album.
Yeah, and a lot of these artists, they got demigod qualities, but the overall, again, is all encompassing for me. They might have one or two demigod, some miscellaneous.
They may be able to check the box. They may be able to check a couple of boxes, but
I feel like it ain't enough.
So
right.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like every time we bring up Rayquan in any conversation, it always gets a little like, because you think about, you know, Built for Cuban Links, but then you think about
immobility.
Built for Cuban Links. It's not all him. Like, how do you like really place him? I think that's kind of. I think, you know, Ray got a gift and a curse, unfortunately.
I mean, we all do. I live by that. And again, like you said, when you look at Ray's discography, unless you're just a diehard Rayquan fan, I don't think any of us right now could tell us the amount of albums Rayquan has put out. We could guess. We take some guesses like on The Price is Right, but it's kind of like it's built for Cuban Links and only built for Cuban Links Part 2. I salute him for being one of the few people who came up with a follow-up album, and the shit was dope. You know what I mean? But Ray Man had out 6 or 7 albums.
My question: do we discount his group work?
Yes,
I personally
we talk about solo shit.
I personally
gotta separate him from the Wu. I think that's why certain people rate him a lot higher because they affiliate the Wu. And I mean, it's Rayquan. He's an integral part of the Wu. But we talking about just straight Ray. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we gotta separate them from the Wu.
How can you like? That's
I can't separate it though.
That's what I'm saying.
Not just me, music wise. For me,
I can separate that nigga.
Wu-Tang Forever ain't a Rayquan album. Only
I can separate that nigga easy.
album.
This
can
takes us to
separate
what we
them from
talked
the
about
Wu.
earlier. Are we talking about talent? Or are we talking about span?
It depends. That's why for me, I have the boxes. So for me, it's like it always comes back to the educator in me. If we were teaching a class and we're giving report cards, we have to see, does this kid check all the boxes in order to pass to the next grade? So I can easily separate him from the Wu because the nigga on a Wu album, he may have 5 verses. Like that's not you. That's your crew. You know what I mean? Like if all 6 of us roll together and we just jump to people and rolling on people every day, that's cool. But if niggas be like, yo, can Kill hold his hands, nigga, that's only gonna be defined by a one-on-one fight to me. You know what I mean? You can't define like Kill is nice with his hands if all I do is jump people with my crew. You know what I mean? So for me, I can easily separate Ray from Wu because Ray's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This nigga's had 7 albums out. And if you do the Wu Massacre with Meth and Ghostface, that's 8 albums. This nigga has more than enough albums to stand on his own. He's had more than enough rumbles by himself to stand on his own. If he only had 2, then it's like, I see what you're saying. But nah, this nigga has stepped out in the ring by himself. You know what I mean? And to be keeping a buck, it's only built for Cuban Links and only built for Cuban Links 2. I hear a lot of niggas be like, oh, that Feli album was good. Okay, that's good. Good is good, but good ain't getting you in the Hall of Fame, nigga. Like, that's
no knock.
It's no knock. It's no knock.
Hey,
but again, this is weird. Like, my big like, if everybody got in the Hall of Fame, it ain't special no more. The reason why it's special is because everybody don't get in it. Why do people be pressed to be an all-star? Because everybody don't get. You want that on your resume. You want to be able to leave the NBA and say, I was an NBA all-star at least once, that I made the squad. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of niggas in the NBA. Everybody, again, if everybody get in the Hall of Fame, it ain't fun.
And I love Ray. This definitely ain't no knock, ain't no slight. But you, in my opinion, you have to separate Ray from the Wu, because if you include everything Wu into his personal shit, you might have to put him above a Nas or a Jay-Z. And for me personally, solo wise, I think he's around that area, but I don't think he's quite there with them. So my thing is, you have to separate them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a cheat code to include the Wu shit and put him further. You know what I'm saying?
His verses though, baby, he spit those verses.
I mean, but again, for me,
the same thing about Cannabis though. Cannabis was killing everything and everybody from like 96 to 98. So
see,
can we
for me,
put Cannabis up there?
But see, for me, Jizza, I don't think we do that with Jizza. We don't do that with Jizza. It's like, yo, Liquid Swords, like, yo, Jizza can stand on his own, and the nigga only got like 3 albums, and only one of them was dope. Like, we gotta stop acting like the Wu outside Ghostface had all these multiple classic albums dolo. They did. They did.
This is a different conversation, though. Jizza, you know.
You ain't like the niggas on that.
Hold on, because Trey, what you got, Trey?
Okay, so we'll get back to the Jizza, right? But so with Red and Meth, are we judging them on their solo albums?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to. So, but you got Meth where, God?
He immortal,
Meth,
right?
Meth and Red is both mortals. Yeah, same way I got
so
Red.
you're consistent. All right, cool, man.
And I both got them superstars. Bro, yeah. And again, it's just, that's why I got it. It's, for me, it's easy because this is like what I do at work. It ain't about no opinion. It's about checking the boxes. And if you can check the boxes, then you get in. It ain't about if I like you or not. Does this person is he a household name? Yes. I don't like Eminem, but he a household fucking name. He got a classic album. He has impact. He had originality. He's got longevity. He's a top tier MC. He has a legacy, and he has classic songs. M gets in my Hall of Fame. It ain't about if I like him or if I like his albums or if they resonate with me. It's just literally I'm just checking about. I can't grade a kid based off of I don't like that motherfucker over there. If the nigga passes, he passes. I can't hold it against him. He an asshole. I pass a lot of kids who are assholes.
So let's get back to Rel. Rel, you never answered.
Rel's still stuck. He on Old Guys Avenue right now.
Because I got legend, elite, respected veteran. The people I got in respected veteran, I don't want to put. I think Ray better than that. I don't know.
But see, this is why I'm telling you, bro. You got to go off the boxes. You got it. This is why the criteria is so important, because the criteria takes away if you like somebody or not. It's just about if they check the boxes. If you don't have boxes to check, your personal emotions are gonna come into it, and like, yo, I really like Ray. It's a lot of people I wish made my Hall of Fame, but they just fucking.
I didn't say like. I said have. Like, he's accomplished more, and he's just better than some of these people I got in respected veteran. So who are some of the people in your respected veteran? Like, I would put him over. I would put like OC fans, right?
Right.
Listen. Let me finish. I think OC has 2 classic albums back to back. To me.
Yep.
To me. The first one and the second one are classics. I wanted to put OC in the elite part, right? That's my second tier.
Right.
But on my list of things, he's kind of missing some of those things. So it wouldn't be fair. You know what I'm saying? With Ray,
be careful.
He's missing some too, right? But then I got Currency, Ransom, Black Moon on my respective veteran. And then on my elite, I have people like Beans, Kiss, Common.
To me, that's where Ray go.
Okay.
And see, for me, it would be based off of what's your criteria to be at that level.
Okay.
Because see, for me, Ray only has that one dope album. Well, he has a classic. It's a classic. So for me, it's easy because I only got 3, and he bigger than fucking Jedi Mind Tricks, and he ain't as good as Run DMC, so he fits in my superstar level. Right. You know what I mean? So it's easier for me.
The fact that I have 5.
Right, that's what makes it harder for you, like where he fits. Because you're right, it's hard to put him next to Black Moon, you know. But I don't know. Tell him where you got Ray.
You know, I only have 3 tiers, man. So I add his everything about every verse, everything. So he probably my second tier.
Okay. All right. Yeah, same with me. I mean,
but that makes sense when you got like 3 tiers. That makes sense.
Right. It makes it easier.
Lower tier.
You can't put him in the bottom
not
tier,
necessarily upper tier. Right. Yeah.
Right. That's why it's easy for me. For Rel, he got 7 tiers. So it's like, fuck. Like, what floor I put him on? Like, my building's simple. I got a 3-story building, B. I ain't even got no elevator in my crib. So it's just 3
See, even though I'm a little younger than y'all, I still follow the guard of y'all class. Like, I'm an extension of y'all, a direct extension of y'all. So for me, it's easy because I wasn't outside like y'all, but I was still paying attention. You know what I'm saying? And I followed these artists into my adulthood. You know what I'm saying? So when I see, like, I get it. We might hold Ray more esteem than like a Redman or a Comet. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But for me, I'm just talking about a box, not disrespectfully putting nobody in a box, but when you got these crop of artists, I'm going over accomplishments, I'm going over fan favor, I'm going over longevity, I'm going over staying power, I'm going over material, I'm going over skill. Accolades is all encompassing. And even though in certain of these miscellaneous traits, I might prefer him over them, it's still kind of the same sandbox. You know what I'm saying? It just looks different because they all individuals.
So you didn't want to put Ray in the same box with OC?
No. I wanted to put OC higher.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't.
Okay.
I was looking at the list of criteria I had. I was like, he was missing a couple, and I was like, it was hard for me to put him in that level, even though he has two in my opinion.
Oh no, he does. He does. In my opinion too.
You know what I'm saying? Two, like back to back. So yeah. So that was a difficulty with that. I was just using him as an example, but I would put Ray in the elite for me. That's my second tier.
All right.
I'm just saying, man. I don't want to be. I'm trying not to be the bad guy and start controversy because I have so much respect for Rayquan, and I think he's a stupendous MC. I put him in my third criteria, which is underground. But some of us paid money on the mobility, and we still upset about that shit.
Yeah.
That was not a good album, and I think that's a little bit of a tarnish on his name. I think Immobility. I think if it wasn't for that album.
Well, and here's the thing. Again, this takes me back to and this is why I love education, because it makes it real fucking simple. Because the nigga has 8 albums out. So Only Built for Cuban Links, Immobility, The Lex Diamond Story, Only Built for Cuban Links 2, Shaolin versus Wu-Tang, Fly International, Luxurious Art, The Wild, and Wu Massacre with Map and Ghostface. So at the end of the day, you're only looking at, I don't even know if Cuban Links 2 is a classic. I think it's a very good album. I think it's like 24 songs on there. If he would have trimmed it down some. So, I mean, I think it's just one of those things with Ray. He's just so big. He's bigger, you know, I think, and we look at again, this is why the boxes work, because like what we like. You know, I love Ray just for the goddamn Snow Beach piece I don't got yet. You know what I mean? Like that nigga gets a check for the low piece, you know? Niggas love the part. Niggas just love Ray's swag, but does he check the boxes? That's why you gotta have boxes. You gotta have boxes, and it just comes down
it's hard to check all the box. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to check the boxes though, because Ray also has stuff. He also has the 10 Bricks, which was ridiculous. Off
Cuban Links too.
He also did
crazy.
The Shaolin Go Hard, which was it was his own little flip, and that shit was fucking ridiculous. So it's not like he ain't nowhere near whack.
No. It's not whack. It's not whack. But again, it's
but I think
the boxes.
My first 2 tiers was Legend and Elite. He just don't make Legend or Elite. So
right.
And that's why I think it's important to separate him from the Wu, because Wu checks certain boxes that Ray don't as a solo artist. That's why I was saying it's kind of like a cheat code. You kind of almost giving him a pass, because Wu is icon, and to some Ray would be too. But it's like when we talking about levels with other artists, Ray's stature, no disrespect, I love Ray. Ray's solo stature is not that of Wu's stature. He come from that, and he get a lot of shine from that, and just do, because he was a part of some groundbreaking legendary shit. But just talking about solo is not really the same.
And I don't want to make this a Wu thing, but I just want to put out there that Wu to me is more RZA's brainchild, because when a lot of these people left the Wu, what did their careers look like when they left RZA?
So you how great RZA is.
You know, outside Ghost, whose second album was crazy. Nobody talking about Beneath the Surface. Nobody talking about Immobility. Outside Ghost, he the only nigga, and RZA was still part of fucking Supreme. You know what I mean? But outside of that, so again, they both needed each other, because somebody out there saying, well, what did RZA do without him? That fucking Bobby Digital shit. Like, so again, I'm not saying they didn't both need each other, but this is why I have to separate them. Because when you look at, again, if I run with you niggas every day after school, we just beating people up, you got to judge me on when niggas catch me by myself. That's when you, especially if niggas call me by myself 8 times, and I only won 1 of them 8 fucking fights. If you know a nigga who lost 7 fights and only beat the fuck out of 1 nigga, you ain't saying that nigga nice. You gonna be like, that nigga lost 5 fights. He just caught a good one with that nigga. And like F said, Ghostface was there. So I really wasn't by myself. I still had my big brother Trey with me.
Yo, Kill, you actually brings a question to mind. You know, when you say that about RZA and the rest of and all the MCs in Wu-Tang, and the fact that nobody really had a dope sophomore album outside of Ghostface. What does that say about the MC? about that particular MC? Do we like the MC because of we were able to find, RZA was able to find the right bed for them to sit on top of, to actually put their lyrics inside of? Is that the reason why we like them more? Or
I think just RZA was just the perfect coach. It was why fucking Shaq and Kobe was fucking losing to the Utah Jazz, the non-athletic Utah Jazz, before Phil Jackson came to town. You can have all this talent, but you need the right coach to be able to get everybody to be on the same page. How the fuck does Kobe and Shaq get swept by the fucking Utah Jazz in the playoffs?
Right.
That's fucking beyond embarrassing, nigga. Shaq should never fucking be getting swept nowhere. I don't give a fuck who you playing. But it happened, and now Phil Jackson come to town, and now they winning chips. You know what I mean? So
that's how I feel about Meth, because it's like he had all the key ingredients, and they set him up to be like that star. Like it still confuses me. I can't really wrap my head around it. I wasn't like there paying attention to that at that time, but just like knowing the history now, knowing Meth and knowing Wu, it's like I still just can't wrap my mind around how RZA couldn't get him over the hump. And not to say he had like a disappointing career, no shit like that, but I felt like Meth was supposed to be more. Like I felt
he was. No, it wasn't even supposed to. The way niggas say who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas, you could take Jay out, and it was supposed to be who's the best MC, Meth.
Biggie, Biggie, Nas, and Meth.
Like that's what it was supposed to be. I'll give him the pass because you know the whole album, the flood shit happened. You know what I mean, or whatever like that. Maybe if we got the original Takao the way it was supposed to be, maybe we're talking differently. By the second album, he moved on. I know Karan from the Youngsters fucking did that song with D'Angelo, so I don't even know if RZA produced on the second album. So again, I'm just like that. After that sophomore album, we saw it in the Wu-Tang series when he was like, "Look, y'all out your contracts. Go be fruitful." Niggas could not go and be fucking fruitful. You know what I mean? And to be honest, we always keep coming back. And I think we all, to some extent, give them a pass because they part of the Wu. You know, if I bring up Ray, it's like, oh, come on, Kill, but it's the Wu. Like, okay, but what's the... They've had more than ample amount of opportunities. What the fuck? Wu-Tang Forever was 97. It's 2024, my nigga. Y'all done had 20 years to get yours.
Ghost the only one.
And Ghost only won. So
he had a hell of a run.
Yeah, Ghost only run. Ghost only won. So again, it's not a knock, but I just think you need that Phil Jackson. You need that shit. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think that's it. But no disrespect to the Wu, no disrespect to Ray.
Absolutely.
Love you. Snow Beach all day long. But again, it's just the boxes. There's people in my Hall of Fame I don't fucking like, but they there. There's people who I love who ain't get to make the Hall of Fame. So it's about them boxes. Trey, talk to him about the new album, Different. Where can they copy? What's going on with Trey Lee?
Hold on, hey, Kill. I had a couple questions. I had a couple quick names real quick.
Yeah, my bad.
That Buster.
That's my superstar.
Elite.
Yeah, second tier for me, yeah.
Second tier. Yeah.
Okay.
Bus. That's crazy right there, because I can't wholeheartedly say Mortal and I can't wholeheartedly say Demigod, but I'm leaning more towards Demigod in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. To me, he could be on the cusp, but I can't put him next to Nas. Like, that's my thing. I can't put Buster's...
Lyrically, I can't put him next to Nas, but I ain't gonna lie. In certain instances, like his discography, like Nas is my GOAT, but for certain moods, like shit, Extinction Level Event, When Disaster Strikes, even The Big Bang, like Bus had some shit, and he was moving units. He got stand power, his longevity, his originality.
He definitely checks some boxes.
I might have to throw Bus with the Demigods, bro. I might have to do that.
Yeah, my second tier, Bus check a lot of boxes.
Yeah,
I got a little controversy though. Are we talking about Nas' whole span and Buster's whole span?
I would say yeah, and keep in mind, my Hall of Fame does not include, none of mine include discography. So that's just
discography is big for me, bro. Discography is big for me, bro.
I feel you. I mean, because here's the thing: the reason why with discography is because I mean Nas got duds, Jay got duds. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you this. That's why I was more so looking at your legacy and your longevity and your impact versus discography. Because again, like I said earlier, some of them songs Nas ain't even want to fucking make. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard for me to like, you know, I think some of these duds, some of Jay's duds were on purpose because he was trying to make songs for the radio. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was trying to make good songs. His goal was just to do this. So for me and Trey, I see the look on your face, the concern, the distraught on your face.
No, because I just want to get this straight. So, Kill, you got Bus where? He's not Hall of Fame?
No, I have him as a superstar because I do feel like Bus has, I guess, the Big Bang. I go up and down with this but does Bus have classic albums? You know what I mean? Of course, the originality is there. The longevity is there. Is he a top tier MC? I don't think so.
Okay. Well, okay, and that's subjective, right? Because I'm the main guy when I get into conversation about Bus. My gripe with him is that outside of Extinction Level 2, my gripe with him is that he rhymes about the same shit on all of the albums. He don't vary. But with that being said, his capability, his style, his
impeccable
showmanship, all of that shit is top.
It makes up for a lot. Yeah, it makes up for a lot.
Top tier.
It's subject matter. He has
But here's the thing, Trey. But let me ask you this, Trey. All the boxes you just named, are those the boxes on your list? Because everything you named isn't on my Hall of Fame check box list.
Okay, so you said you don't know if he has a classic album. That's what you said?
Classic albums, yes.
That's where you and then you said what else? What was it?
I don't know if he's a top tier MC. I don't know if I'm putting Nas's rhyme book that I'm reading next to Busta's rhyme book that I'm reading, and I'm blown away.
Well, okay,
I personally don't come away quoting Busta. I may say just the other day I said something. I just quoted Jay today on the timeline. I quote Jay all the time. I quote The Wire all the time. Like those quotables are important to me. I can use what you say. I don't quote Snowfall. I've never fucking once quoted Snowfall, but I can quote The Wire for you every day in so many different ways. But that's just me. That's important to me.
No.
You know, so for me, for Busta, I'm never walking around like, just like Busta said, a midget standing on a giant's head can see much further than the giant. I'm never quoting Busta like, you know, in a regular day life scenario, you know.
So then you gotta ask that, not you, but here's where when we say, you know, he's not a top tier MC, but then when you get on these down the line pieces, nobody wants to go after him.
I think he is a top tier MC. I just think that, again, everything is broken down into levels, right? And as far as MCing, for me, it's not just high level lyricism. It's other characteristics that go into MCing. And I think his other characteristics put him up there with them. It's just not lyricism. He's not the lyricist Nas or Jay is, but he has other intangibles within his MC bag that puts him next to them. That's why, for me, I gotta put him with the demigods. He's just a step above Redman, Common, Meth, Cannabis, Punk. He's done too much. I gotta put him with the demigods.
I can't put him over Red. Because to you, Trey,
I'm not putting him over Red either.
To me, the reason people didn't want to go after him wasn't because of his bar work. It was because of the animation. It was because this nigga's gonna growl like a dungeon dragon.
Because
that's not impressive to me. That I don't want to go after you because you're gonna growl like a dungeon dragon or you're gonna make a noise. Like I don't want to go after you because you're gonna bark. You're not gonna bark like a dog. Like no, you're gonna bar me to death. Like that's why I'm scared to go after you. People weren't scared to go after Busta. Like how the Roots would be like, no, there's no way that we could rock after them. Like nobody was looking at Busta like that. It was like we can't. I don't want to go after him because he's so animated.
Oh, that would have been a good version.
What's that? Busta and Red
and Busta and Thought.
Not a good verse. He don't have no songs.
Blew them out of the water.
Yeah, he don't have no songs.
He got too many records. He got too many records. He would have
way too many records.
That would be the good verses in the way that we would look at a verse. The way that verses, on some MC shit. But the way verses is set up, like niggas would be in there like, what song is this? Oh, this from the Root second album. Okay, it'd be a whole bunch of whispering like, what song is this?
Right, and that was kind of my thing with Busta. Is like not just the row like a Dungeon Dragon. Yes, he has energy, so that's included. But Bus got joints. Like he might not have a class.
Oh no, he got joints. I was just talking about Trey saying people didn't want to go after him. It wasn't they didn't want to go.
I get what you're saying, but that's my separation. That's my separation between that mortal and that demigod. I love Red, but can Red keep up with joints? And again, it's all encompassing, and it's like certain shit you overcompensate in over others, and that might push you out in front a little bit, even if it's only by a hair. Like for me, I'm edging Bus in front of Red just a touch. You know what I'm saying? It's not
here's the great thing about the game. You can't be mad at it. If you edge him up a little, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? Like again, it's either which way. You know what I mean? So it's
and like I said, I'm being objective because I'm people know me, man. I am very critical of Busta. Just because his skill set is so crazy, but you keep talking the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the ability, the way you getting out of pockets, your voice, your cadence, your flow, all of that shit is all top tier, but you keep talking about the same shit. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my gripe, but I cannot deny this nigga got records. He got huge.
He got classic songs.
He does.
That you put them shits on it, and I don't give a fuck where you at. I don't give a fuck what the crowd is. I don't give a fuck if they black. Like he got records. I can't escape that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Ev, I know you gotta get ready to bounce, bro. Where can they get at you, man?
Get at me wherever where you see me.
That's why this nigga like, oh, come talk to me on Twitter. This nigga don't be on Twitter. That's nigga be talking to an empty room, man.
I'm on the gram, FICs on Twitter, Mental151. Getting ready for the next run of this Prophet theater piece that we're doing. It's a salute to all the MCs. Actually, we're going to Shoutouts. We'll be in Chicago in May.
This the brother you were telling me about when you came out here last year.
So indeed. So we'll be out there.
We gotta connect next time.
Sure. And I just want to say, man, this particular topic, it's a pleasure to be on here with a bunch of MCs. I know it's at least 2 or 3 other ones here. So just have this conversation with other MCs and other perspectives. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and it's a blessing. So yeah, y'all, indeed.
All right, good brother.
Thank you for letting me join y'all. I'll see y'all in a minute. Peace.
All right, absolutely. Trey, tell them all about Different, man.
Yeah, man, it's an album that we put out strictly on the website, TracyLeeMusic.com. That's TraCeylee music.com. It's not on any streaming platforms, and we just continuing to push it. It's 12 joints produced, co-executive produced by my man OJ's, and we got a whole bunch of other producers from all across the world, actually. You know what I'm saying? From London to Milwaukee to my man Kill, got a banger on the joint. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, it's consistent with what I do, man. It's really giving you the where we are right now after going through all the pandemic bullshit and all of that. Like, what's your mind state? What you thinking about? Where you headed? What's the next steps? You know what I'm saying? And so, I think it's a very enjoyable album that people, can get into, man. If you just do your due diligence and just come to TracyLeeMusic.com. That's it, man. It's real simple. It ain't on Spotify. It ain't on none of that. We not doing that, man. We moving forward, man. We past that shit. This is how you gotta. I'm going direct to consumer. You know what I mean? So, want it, come get it. And I'm gonna continue to. The one thing I do, and the one thing I do like about what Jay said at the Grammys is I'm gonna keep showing up. You understand me? I'm gonna keep showing up. So whether you come to the website now, fine. Nigga, we're gonna keep rolling, and you're gonna have to eventually, if you want to get into Trey Lee and what he's doing with the music, you're gonna have to come see me. But I'm gonna keep showing up. So yeah, Different on TracyLeeMusic.com.
Right, no doubt. Rel, where can I get at you, good brother?
Uptown Rel 215 on the gram, JBen215 on Twitter. My album that I put out last year is out. Caught in a Moment. It's on my Bandcamp. It's on all streaming platforms, and we currently working on my new album. Totally produced by Kill, executive produced by Kill, and my man JR, the R&B reps. So yeah, get ready for that.
You got that. Woo! That's gonna be
crazy. And we got a new Philadelphia Steak Life out with me, Rel, and Gadget. 3 Philly boys go around any and everywhere that claim they got dope cheesesteaks, and we break them down. This episode, we had Capital Delis over on 7th from Florida Ave, Northwest in DC. So check out what we think about these steaks.
Interesting conversation on that episode too.
Yeah. We always chop it up. So on the Dome, where can they get at you, good brother?
Hey, man, just enter the Dome, Twitter, Tone the Dome. All the links to everything else is on there, man. Y'all get at me.
All right, and me and Tone did a dope ep of this podcast. We were chopping up about the year 1997. So Tone is definitely dispelling some myths and some rumors from that year. You know what I mean? Had me in there like a counseling session, like, oh shit, damn, maybe that's why I ain't like that album. Like I was like, oh shit, okay. So definitely a good episode to check out. God, talk about this new album, bro.
Bloodstained Suede 2. Release, what was it, January 26th, streaming everywhere. We just put out the pre-order, I believe it was last week sometime for the CDs and the vinyl. We definitely got the CDs will be shipping out soon. We looking at vinyl mid to late March. But yeah, man, this one, to my surprise, is going crazier than what I anticipated. I never anticipate any type of reception, any certain level of, you know what I'm saying, fanfare. You know what I'm saying? When I drop, I just do what I do, and those it hit. But you know what I'm saying? People been raving about it. Like I heard a lot of people talking about it was better than Benny Joint. Like, hey, whatever, I accept it. You know what I'm saying? Gratitude. I appreciate that. Definitely always just trying to evolve and, you know, become the most complete artist I can while staying true to me. Like I always say with this underground shit, like you don't have to stay static. You don't have to sound one way just because you underground. If anything, underground should allow you the freedom to do whatever it is that you feel like doing, you know what I'm saying, music wise. So I'm always just trying to better the craft, getting better lyrically, you know what I'm saying, getting better as far as, you know what I'm saying, the songwriting, coming with more creative ways to, you know, inject content into the music, and you know, just keep trying to put on for the crib. You know, Chicago will never forget how to rap. You know, that's my thing. Just trying to put on for the crib. You know what I'm saying? So Bloodstained Suede 2, streaming everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's also on Bandcamp. You can get the CDs, you can get the vinyl, you can get you a vinyl and a CD. We got the combo packs, all that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no mediocre. That's the brand. I am God. I am getting ahead without devolving. You know, that's a lifestyle. And we doing it, man.
All right. Yo, I think one of the dopest things, God, that I love seeing, I just love being the connector, man. I love seeing people say, like, yo, I found out about you through Kill or through Apartment 5B or whatever like that, because that's exactly what I want this place to be. I want it to be a place where people find dope music. I was telling God off camera, people send me music every day. Like, niggas must think I'm an A&R, and I can't do anything, you know, but it's beautiful because people respect my opinion. It's a gift and a curse because I get music sent to me every fucking day. So, and I try to listen to everything, but God is one of the very few MCs of 15 years on Twitter that I heard his album and I literally was like, I had to like send it to Eddie and Porsche and people to be like, yo, this nigga's kind of not, is it me or is this nigga like fucking really nasty? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had to send it to people like, am I tripping? Because this nigga could be the next one. And niggas was like, nah, this nigga nice. You know what I mean? So right. I just want people to understand that, you know, and Trey, I got yelled at. You right, man. I'm gonna stop doing that shit. You know what I mean? We gonna put everybody in the same category. If everybody on the basketball court, everybody, this ain't just Kyrie against, everybody's on the court together. Trust me, Rel will make sure of it, that this year's year review will definitely be include, you know, some underground, some heavy hitters and everything like that. So, I mean, you already know it is with me, Kill 889, Twitter, IG. Just one thing, man. Can y'all stands leave me the fuck alone? Like, I don't know how y'all find me. I have no fucking idea. I literally just simply said, Yo, if you've known me for 3.9 seconds, you know I love this Killer Mike album, Michael. I've been talking about it since it came out. It was my #1 album of the year. Congratulations to this man. That's all the fuck I said. And the next day, it was fucking 609 stands. Like, yo, what the fuck? I could prove to you metrically that this album is better than Michael. And I'm like, nah, no, thank you. You ain't got proof shit. If you like it better, go on. Like,
it's funny because I know the exact accounts he's talking about. It's
he's like, you an old man. You don't know what you talking about, old man. You got dyslexia. And I'm like,
he kept tagging me in that shit. And I'm like, yo, I don't care about what y'all talking about. That's my favorite rapper, but
then I blocked a whole bunch of them. Then another nigga came in like, why you have to block people for being objective? And I'm like, calling me an old man with dyslexia is not being objective, you dumb fucks. Like, how dumb are you little kids? Like, and then I'm like, on top of all that, y'all, in 2 months, I hit 50. Let me explain something to y'all. I did not think I would live past 18. I remember going away to college and just praying to God that I could get to college so that my mother could say her son is in college. I didn't even pray to God that I would graduate. I didn't think I would live that long. So to be 50 net in 2 months, my nigga, please keep calling me old. That is not an insult. When you survived 1980s crack Philadelphia, nigga, calling me old is a compliment.
Yeah, I don't even
dickhead. Like, how stupid can you be?
Right.
For y'all, that sound like some nut shit. Y'all want to get killed because y'all, and it's funny because I work with teens, so I know y'all think getting shot in your fucking head at 19 is gonna immortalize you in the hood. Let me explain something to you, my niggas. Ain't nobody putting up no goddamn burner you at the corner store. Ain't nobody giving you no tribute. Niggas gonna pour out some bottles. They gonna leave some bottles outside where you got popped, and they may give you a barbecue once a year. You ain't being immortalized. Nigga, you want to be immortalized? Have kids. Have your kids to have kids. Grow old. See your kids grow old. Hold your grandchildren. That's how you become immortalized. So y'all calling me old? Keep it up, man. But the wildest part was I didn't even say Nas's name. Like, that's the wild part. I can see if I was like Killer Mike 1, fuck Nas. I just literally said congrats to Killer Mike, and they just popped up like they.
Hey, Kill, I said congratulations, and niggas came up like, you a fake Nas fan.
They like, you ain't no real Nas fan.
And I'm like, dog, Michael's a great album. Nobody got robbed. If Nas would have won, I'd have been glad. Cool, but I ain't mad either way.
Yo, I told you that.
They cried for 3 days on the fucking internet.
Listen, these niggas are fucking the Secret Service, man. They will take a bullet for their favorite rapper. I said Nas don't even give a fuck this much that he lost.
You don't.
We live in an emo society, man. Just understand that, and shit got to get retrained, man. It's like you got to start with the youngins. You got to start with the fucking the kindergartners through the goddamn 6th graders, man. Because the rest of this shit, the damage is done.
You can't save them. You can't save them.
I hate to say it, OG. This shit is a wrap. This internet shit, this shit is a wrap. As long as this internet shit is around, this shit is a wrap, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
It'll never go back.
It's the same thing, bro. Never go back. Like we said, it's a gift and a curse with everything. I'm happy because I've worked with kids and I remember kids in high school, them motherfuckers that's left out. They just, nobody fuck with them. Nobody, you know what I mean? And it's a fucked up place to be. And I'm glad that they found their place. But now the curse is these niggas are a cult. So they done found their crew and they culted up to the point when niggas was like, from this Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj beef, like they was like, yo, we got to put extra security at Megan's mother's grave site because I guess Nicki Minaj said something like dig up your mother or something, and it's like, yo, her stands are so crazy they may go try to dig. Yo, the fact that you got to put security at somebody's mother's grave site because you fuckers are so crazy that you may actually go dig up a corpse. What the fuck are you gonna do with the body? You gonna dig up the body? The fact that we even have this conversation lets you know that where we at right now. It lets you know where we at. But dope show. I'm sure we're going to start some controversy. Going to be some good conversations. I will check you good people next week, y'all.